Well, you could years. So I went for the Sydney fireworks in 2000 and the Sydney fireworks in 2010.
Full driven, good stop by mid-wicket. Is the skipper Root. Well, awesome facts. Like, would you like to see Stuart Broad or Moeen Ali bowling in this test? Well, neither are there. I think Broadie would be quite interesting. I don't know if Mo's going to get a go. If Bess continues to take wickets, Mo's going to remain on the sidelines, I think. Clipped into the leg side again to mid-wicket, and there is no run.
The trouble with that is that Bess does look like he tires early on in a spell. He hasn't played much four-day cricket because not much four-day cricket is played. So this is taking him deep into new territory.
Absolutely. He's got to get deep into his reserves of energy and make sure he concentrates all day. Kohli goes back in the crease, clips it square on the leg side out into the deep. He'll get himself a single. The new ball doesn't. The new ball when it's new doesn't seem to do much but as soon as the lacquer goes, I think it's harder. It's more likely to go through the surface. You saw Archer break the surface with new ball yesterday, and then it does start to reverse after about 10. Well, it certainly did yesterday when Isham was bowling.
I actually think it's the converse of what you'd expect in England, in that it brings the spinners back into the game when the ball's a little bit harder and the seam's a little bit firmer. We've seen the pictures of some of the balls, or how severely some of them deteriorated on other days, and they basically stop spinning after about 50 overs.
Yeah, they turn to rags. But then the pitch is really breaking up, so got to get the right spots on there. That's driven by Kohli once again down to Anderson. There's a deep set mid on, and there'll be another run.
Knackle has pointed out, it's a good one, that the final day is different. There's a minimum of 90 overs in the day, so the closure will come after 6 hours play, or 90 overs, whichever is the later, or it goes dark.
That's true, in which case England will get 24 overs with that new ball at some point. Shubman Gill plays that up to once more long on and gets himself another single. 4 singles at the end of the over. Well, Jitten says the SG ball goes lifeless after 30 odd overs. That might take the sting out of this misbehaving pitch. I don't think so. I think the pitch will have a lot to say on this final day. It's still behaving reasonably well off the straight and off the main part of the pitch, but the ball that got Rohit and the ball that got Pujara were middle stump deliveries from Leach that turned enough to take the edge, and I don't think those edges, mind you, as a spinner, so you're not going to argue with me on that, are going to go second slip. They're always going to go first or keeper, and they're always going to be pretty thin.
Yeah, it's the attacking shot that goes to second slip from either the pacer or the spinner, because the energy that comes off the quick moving bat, the fast hands, is what makes the ball go that little wider.
Yeah, well, Leach is going to continue, and Gill plays it up to mid on, no run.
I just think there are better catching positions than second slip on this pitch. I think short on the leg side, I even think long on for the two spinners, you're more likely to get a catch there than you are at second slip.
Quite possibly trying to go for a big shot. Gill is facing up, that's 2 leg side by Leach. He's looking for that wonder ball again. If he only has to get 10 of them in a day, that'll be fine. The others can go for 4, as that one does, which is clipped sweetly by Shubman Gill out to the mid-wicket boundary, and it's 4 more runs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that there's probably at least one better catching position, and I would be bringing in the man who is at a kind of authentic backward square leg. I'd be bringing him into short backward square leg. This is the world record chase we're looking at here on a deteriorating pitch. That fielder should be attacking, not defending.
Yeah, too full again, dug out by Gill. He nearly yorks himself really, and plays it up to mid on, and there's no run. He's on 49 now, and he'll be looking for yet another 50. Averages 85 in Test cricket so far. His 3rd, 4th, 5th Test or whatever it is. Leach at the end of his run. He's in now. Bowls. He's 2 leg side. He's looking for that. He's looking for that ball every time, isn't he? He's getting it quite a little bit wrong. That's 2 leg side. It's just defended on the leg side, and there is no run.
I think I'd probably answer that deep square leg is a more likely catching position than second slip. Is still in this game.
Oh well,
Second
there's
slip.
drive.
As
That
one nearly
wasn't
goes
gonna
to second slip.
It wouldn't have gone to second slip. It had gone to a gully though, but there isn't a gully, and it squirts off to backward point, and it is.
I mean, even that though is it's come through at toe height at best.
Yeah. I'm not sure it would have even carried to there, to be honest. That one is guided down through second slip, but along the ground they've got themselves a single. Not sure if it was carried either.
Yeah, well, I think that's my point made. Mayank says, if England somehow get Gill and Kohli out within the next 45 minutes, this game is done. India will be in survival/shutdown mode. No, they won't, because Rishabh Pant will be in, and Rishabh Pant will play his shots.
He will do, but if he gets in and plays his shots, I don't care how many he gets, he'll eventually get himself out. It'll be my bet.
I think he will, but he's not going to be in survival or shutdown mode. Rishabh Pant is not going to be making 40 off 184 deliveries.
No, he's not, and the thing is, he might well make 90 off of 81, but he'll get through his balls too quickly, and eventually he'll get out, and there'll still be time for England to win the game.
People may be wondering, well, why are India, if they're not pursuing what is a notional target, why are they playing so many scoring shots? Well, at least part of that is to spread the field about a bit and make sure that the man who should be at short backward square is actually at backward square leg. The man who should be at second slip or gully is at backward point. But we can see India's attitude to the game, because so much time is being taken out already by India's batsmen. Okay, there's change in the bowling here, which has taken some time, but the helmet's been brought out for Kohli, because you're not allowed to have the helmets on the field. And now there's a conference going on. A lot of time it's been spent already not playing cricket.
Well, if they've got to have 90 overs, they've got to have 90 overs. Let's have a Jimmy jingle.
Jimmy, 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 oh, Jimmy, Jimmy, oh, little Jimmy, will let go.
It'll be interesting to see what he does. I don't mind fielders out in the deep as well. I think, especially for Leach, if Leach wants to bowl that line on leg stump, he's occasionally going to get it wrong. It's always going to be clipped out into the deep. You might as well have someone out there if it allows him to bowl the line he wants to. Now that does tail in. Jimmy was probably watching Ishant Sharma yesterday, and Bumrah, thinking that's the way to bowl.
Daniel Shepherd's got a point on this pitch. To the spinners, the more close fielders, the better the chances of a catch coming off a rebound, off fingers, knees or toes. But that's a different argument. A short leg side fielder or even a leg slip would be a better position for spin bowlers.
Well, we shall see. There's a long way to go yet. Jimmy is in. Bowls. That tails in. Oh my word, what an absolute fucking peach of a delivery. Has tailed in late. Gill has defended. It's gone between bat and pad in the gate, and he's knocked the leg pole out of the ground. It's gone cartwheeling off towards Butler. That is an absolute peach of a delivery. Cannot argue with that. And Shubman Gill, having made his 50, is now gone. Well, he is the bowler with the most, certainly the pace bowler with the most amount of wickets in the world. That was an absolute delivery. Wow.
Unbelievable. Simon Jones ashes 2005 to Michael Clarke, but he plays a shot, is basically that.
And he got beaten. And it wasn't the leg stump, it was the off stump. But he went cartwheeling out the ground, which is always a really nice sight to see. You don't see it that often these days. But, wow, what a ball. India now 92 for 3.
Shubman Gill always gives you that chance because he does stay on the leg side of the ball. I said yesterday he goes at the ball with hands and
that was through the gate though, wasn't it?
But I mean, it was just a beautiful delivery and rather underpins the point that the new ball is less of a threat than the old ball, with it being with reverse very much being in play.
It's still reasonably new. It's only 26 overs old, but
it's old enough to reverse.
And we're back, and it's our post tea, and England are deep in it. Really, it has to be said. I'm joined by Knackle and Nestlers.
Hello, this is the first time we've commentated together.
I know, it's very strange, isn't it? Usually one of us in here and one of us in the green room. But being in different spaces, we can be on air together. it's been India on top here, aren't they, Knuckle?
Yes, Anderson magicked some movement out of nowhere with the oldish ball. I think he set Rohit up, and Pujara actually. Had Rohit worried about the inside edge, about the outside edge, then got one to wobble in off the seam. And then Pujara did the exact opposite. He put the short leg in place, had him worried about the inside edge, and then got him just to follow one that just went a little bit. The pitch isn't doing very much, there's a little bit of seam. Swinging a little bit, but not very much. The bounce is fairly true, it's a fairly slow pitch. Robinson's bowled well, but Anderson is of course a cut above. And Rohit and Rahul, I think, batted really well.
I think that's
for their opening partnership.
That's the big thing, isn't it? I don't think England were consistent enough with their lines, and they did bat really well. So, anyway, we're back, and opening up straight after tea is this man.
So here's to you, Ollie Robinson. Dizzy loves you now, you change your tune. You're not a buffoon.
First ball, he's bowling at Virat Kohli. He beats the outside edge and it goes through the butler and there's no run.
Virat Kohli, 3 balls faced in the series, yet to score a run.
Looks nervous, man. I don't often see him nervous, but it must be quite. I mean, you're the captain, the main man, and you actually get to the second test before you face your third ball of the series. You're not in it at all, are you?
No, he got basically an unplayable delivery first ball in the first test.
Robinson is in, gets right behind it. Virat plays it back down the track. There's no run. Looks a bit angsty, as I said, hopping around on his toes.
He's always very busy looking at the crease, and he's maybe going at the ball a little bit. I'm sure Robinson will be throwing the odd one a little bit wider, seeing if he wants to push at it. You've got 3 slips in the gully in place. I mean, Kohli just wants one on his toes here that he can clip off for a single.
Yeah, totally. Or one full in the slot outside off stump, he can just drive. Ollie Robinson is up to deliver the third ball after tea. It's thrown up, it's wide, and Kohli just lets it through, and there is no run. We should give Virat his jingle straight back after tea. It's a goodie.
The Indian says signals that they'll knock us on her arse. The pitches are prepared without a sign of grass. The score is mounting quickly and they've got a talking lead. We don't mind the challenge, it's a beating we don't need. He lets loose all his shots when the bowlers are fatigued. And we wait to find the match is dead and our doom is Virat. And Davey Warner rides around and says Kohli's the cat, Kohli's the cat.
Fourth ball is again thrown up too wide, and that's what Ollie Robinson's done for me too often today. I mean, he's good at bowling it straight, but he's been too wide of the off stump.
Well, it's not really going from straight, is it?
No, but that's what I mean. He's starting off way too wide, and it is just going further.
I mean,
it's kind of a waste of a delivery. I don't think that's going to tempt anybody, and it's just too wide.
Teams do this to Kohli, but that is too wide, even for someone who does like to go at the ball outside off stump.
Very dark there.
It is very dark. Ollie Robinson, that's straighter. And so kind of half turns Kohli, gets a leading edge back to the bowler along the ground. He's trying to turn it into the leg side. Still not off the mark, 7 balls faced. But what we're going to see is Jimmy bowling.
What's the Indian media saying about Kohli? Because, I mean, if he fails again...
That'll be very little to be taken seriously. I mean...
No, but are they having a go?
I imagine, I'm sure they are, aren't they?
I mean, people are worried about Kohli, Pujara and Rahane not scoring runs. And people are talking about Pujara and maybe Rahane being left out.
Well, Ollie Robinson is in. Oh, it's gone. It's a big edge. Surely. Well, the umpire's not giving it. It might have just gone off the seam. And Root's wondering if they heard anything. It went off the seam, beat the outside edge. I thought Butler went up quite slow. I thought it was a kind of... I don't think he thought he'd actually edged it, because he kind of seemed to do the fake thing, and then everyone else went up, and the crowd went up.
Yeah, Robinson was convinced no one behind the stumps was. Root kind of made the gesture as say, I didn't hear anything.
No.
Seeing it again on the replay, no, the bat maybe hit the back pad. But
possibly. I thought I'd killed him off then.
Well, it would have been good. No, I don't think he got anything like that.
No, England didn't review it and didn't really look like they wanted to review it.
ultra edge. There's a little noise as the bat hit the pad. Just brushed the pad, which was probably the noise that was heard. And it wasn't a very big brush.
No,
Heart in his mouth.
That's quite a good non-review. It'd be very easy to get carried away there, given that it is Kohli.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Well, that was the last ball of the over. Jimmy Anderson's going to bowl to Kohli and Rahul. First ball, outside his off stump. He shapes maybe the cut, but it's too close to that and lets it through the butler. There's no run. 157 for 2. India, 54th over we're in.
Yeah, I wonder if this sounds strange to say when it's Virat Kohli, but I wonder if KL Rahul might want to face the majority of Anderson's deliveries immediately after tea.
I'm sure Kohli would be too prideful to say that he would like that to happen, but maybe it's true. That's full by Jimmy Anderson outside the off stump of Rahul, and he just gets forward and defends it out to the covers. No run.
Doesn't matter who you are, though, in all sports. I mean, they all come under a bit of pressure at some point in their careers.
Yeah, totally. So you got a bit.
It's how you deal with that and get through it that marks you out.
Root had a pretty tough couple of years, really, after getting up, the Fab Four and all that, and immediately after that he didn't get 100 for quite a while and kept getting himself. He looked comfortable, kept getting himself out.
I mean, that's kind of what Kohli's been, the position he's been in.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the ego becomes too big, needs to be brought down a peg or two to get it back into normality. That's a good guide by KL Rahul through that fourth slip and goes down to a vacant third man for 4 runs, all on the floor.
Yeah, controlled that really well. Waited for it and put it away into the gap. He looks so calm.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? And there was just too much width on that ball as well. It was right there to play that shot.
I mean, Kohli is not under pressure in that sense. He's, he's gone. What I think is 20 Test innings now without 100, but he's not. He's made some very, very important contributions in that time. He's made some very good 70s and 50s.
Well, exactly. That's defended out to point where Hasib Hamed is fielding, and there's no run.
I mean, a couple of them in losing causes. I mean, he got in the game that India ended up getting bowled at for 36. He made a brilliant innings he batted brilliantly in the first innings of that Test match at Melbourne before being run out by Rahane. And then in the Test match in Chennai that we've just been listening to over tea, he batted really, really well. As everything else fell around him. Yeah, and looked complete the class of the field.
His was the wicket that eventually caused the downfall in the end, wasn't it? KL Rahul shapes to have a little jab at it and then pulls his bat away. And it goes through to Butler and there's no run. 1 ball left in the over.
I know that in this series, you got an unplayable ball in the first Test match and he's batted, 8 balls in this?
Well, exactly.
Everyone, you're right, Nestles, you're absolutely right. Everyone wants their first run. You just want to get into the series, and then I have no doubt that there's a few big scores or some very important scores from Kohli coming in this series.
Oh yeah.
You'd expect them, yeah.
I mean, even when Root wasn't scoring hundreds and fallen. Oh, that's come back
no!
Rahul's got hit right in the knackers. Last ball of the over from Anderson. It's cut back in. He keeled over. He didn't go down on his knees. He's a strong man, and that's the end of that over.
He's been hitting the Rahuli woolly woolies.
Yeah, exactly.
The balls of steel.
What's there? Is there anyone on Twitter?
Not at the moment, but Guerrilla Cricket have been tweeting furiously, so it's all there for you to read. But our other people may be still having a bite of lunch or something, or tea rather.
Tea. I did manage to get us back up on YouTube.
Did you?
Yeah, weirdly.
I can't find it.
But see, maybe it's lying to me.
Hang on.
That's
no, I've got it.
There you go. Outside half of the bat by Virat Kohli. Full ball by Robinson. Goes to Rory Burns at about 4 slip gully area.
That's on our backup YouTube channel.
That's on our backup YouTube channel. So I don't know why we're allowed to do it, but it's doing it. I don't know if it's not sending out notifications.
This is like sunlighting upon magic. But the takedown notification said that video got taken down, but we're still allowed to do it. And basically, don't do it again.
Yeah, which means if we get the strike here, then maybe we get time off. I don't know.
We've got a comment on the YouTube already.
There you go, clipped nicely. Kohli is off the mark.
Whee!
Down to long leg, where little Sammy Curran is fielding, and that's good running actually because he got back for 2.
Yeah, if you wanted to design a ball to get a batter wanting their first run of the series, it's a leg stump half volley.
Yep, indeed.
Yes, Pokey Bumfinger has sent us a chat. Lost you early on YouTube, gutted. How is Wood looking today in his bowling?
Well, he was averaging 90.6 miles an hour. His fastest ball was nearly 96 miles an hour. The pitch is quite slow, but he hurried Rahul a couple of times. I don't think he bowled that well. They didn't seem to think that on the telly when I was watching it at T. That's driven out to cover, and there's no run. But I thought he put the effort in, tried the pacey stuff. There was a couple of flying edges, but you get that from fast bowlers.
Yeah, I don't think he bowled badly. I mean, when he tried to bowl short, tried to bowl short, I think he exposed the fact that this pitch doesn't have a lot of pacing.
No.
He bowled okay. I wouldn't say any more than that.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
At the end of this over, I'll give you a lunch update from Brian Barish.
Ooh. Robinson is in to Kohli, who drives that. That's a bit more comfortable now. Haven't scored a run or two. Good use of the feet. Got right to the pitch of the ball. Drove it out to Jimmy Anderson, who's got extra cover. Shortish, and there's no run.
Yeah, timed those two pretty nicely. It's interesting. England they don't have a mid-off a lot of the time. They have this sort of wide extra cover in pretty close. Like it's a club game.
Yeah, kind of. For the drive, I guess there's Russell on a drive.
Well, it's just it stops you pushing it down the ground and getting a single, I suppose, but it does mean that you've got a lot of ground to cover straight.
Yeah, you have, but you don't want to be driven that straight, I guess, as a fast bowler. You shouldn't be anyway. Was that a single? It was a single, wasn't it? Kohli, he just played it into the leg side.
I think that's right. I mean, people say play straight, but actually in England you want to be driving square, not straight. If you're trying to drive straight, you're exposing the outside edge more often than not. You actually need to be angling the bat and sort of playing with the movement a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
The booming drive down the ground's an opportunity for you as a bowler.
And you can only really play it if it's very, very straight and very full. Well, Ollie Robinson has got 1 ball left in his over. His 14th, he's only gone for 25. Hasn't got a wicket yet. That one hoops back in. That was a shout, but I think it was inside edge onto pad. The pad was outside the line and off stump, and not really a lot going for that.
I bowled it really well. Can I have a wicket, please?
Yeah, exactly. There was nothing going for that at all. In real terms, a good ball though, good looking ball. There's no run, and that ends the over. Tweets.
So Brian Barish, for my benefit, he says, because I like to know what he has for lunch.
Yeah,
he's having a hamburger patty with arugula salad topped with parmesan black pepper and truffle sprinkle.
That sounds nice.
That sounds really good.
Now, I have never in my life had truffle.
I'm sure I've had it on something.
It classes up a dish. I don't want too much of it because it's got a strong flavour, but it can add a little to a dish.
It's a fungi, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yes.
More expensive than gold, isn't it?
It's the most expensive thing on the earth.
No, I think that's saffron.
That's saffron.
That's saffron.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, is it? I thought it was black toner.
Could be. Well, Jimmy Anderson's going to continue. He's bowling to Virat Kohli, who immediately plays him out just wide enough of cover. I think is that a skipper there? Maybe.
Sure, route would be at slip.
Well, that's what I thought, but it looked like him. Anyway, it's no run.
I think they took a single.
Sorry, I mean a single. That's what I meant.
That's a pretty confident shot from Kohli, but he is a good 2 feet outside off stump when he's playing that. You see how much he's walking across? But,
yes.
Obviously, he's covering the line, I suppose he would say.
Yeah, he plays away, still playing away a bit from his pad there as well, going to the ball.
It was a great battle between these two in 2018.
Yes, and Anderson is in. That one swings in late. But Rahul's eye is in, and he clips that quite sweetly, but straight to mid-wicket, no run.
Despite the fact that, again, his head is on a completely different line from the ball.
Yeah, falling over.
Yeah, he's been doing it all series. It's the one kind of obvious weakness that I've noticed in KL Rahul's game, and you'd imagine that front pad's going to become a target, but he's getting the bat in the way.
Well, yeah. off and away. I mean, a lot of people do tend to fall over, even the pros. That's outside the off stump. Left alone by Rahul through the keeper and there's no run. I mean, it's the perennial problem of any batsman. I mean, it feels good to kind of fall over.
Yeah, it's difficult to keep your... I mean, that's why people say the on-drive, or something I was always told growing up. The on-drive is the most difficult shot in the game, just because you've got to keep your head in line and not fall over. And not, you know, I think like Ricky Ponting was a fantastic play through the onside, was quite susceptible to that early in his innings. Like the pad going across and the head falling over and the bat having to come round the pad.
But when he got in, Jesus, he hammered those on drives as well. Oh, that one screams past the edge of Rahul's bats. An in-swinger, but it set off quite wide. And it drew Rahul into the shot. Well, he played a genuine shot. He just didn't get an edge and it went through the button and there's no run.
Yeah, I think it was playing for the ball to swing and it just didn't. It just kept on coming in and good carry as well.
Yeah.
Still don't think this pitch is doing a great deal. It's just Anderson starting to get this older ball to move.
Yeah. And we need him to. I think Robinson's bowled okay, but as I said, too many wasted deliveries. Anderson in. That one swings in again. He's got the inducker going. A bit leggy, and Rahul just clips it down to deep backward square leg, and they'll get themselves a single, move on to 166 for 2.
A little bit of reverse.
I don't know if it's reverse. I don't know if it's reverse or just classic in-swing.
Now, we've seen these Duke balls sometimes swing until the very end of their...
Yeah, they do.
Certainly this season.
I mean, one side does look totally battered, and they do have a shine on the other. And the outfield is quite lush, so, you know, could be able to keep going longer. That beats the outside edge of Kohli this time. As he plunges forward, and that's the last ball of the over.
Eddie Jed says, balls of steel, you say. Hales hasn't got those anymore, and shows the clip of poor Alex Hales getting hit twice in the unmentionables.
Twice in consecutive deliveries.
Oh, geez,
in the 100. Brian Barry says, it's a very earthy flavour and a little goes a long way. They make pretty good hot sauce, truff, that is infused with it. That is good on pretty much everything.
Oh, that truffle infused hot sauce, yes please.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, yeah, I might have to seek out some of that.
My partner's parents are coming to visit this weekend, which is part of the reason I've been quite cautious about this ping. And he last time they were here. Come to that after this ball.
Robinson short pulled by Rahul. It was a poor ball really, but he pulled it very fine. And diving Butler just missed it. And it went fairly quickly down to the very fine leg boundary for 4 runs.
It's Nissan She.
Wasn't far away from Butler.
No, he was trying to get it inside fine leg, not that far inside fine leg.
Yeah, I mean it was a pretty poor ball to be fair. But
yeah, I mean, but he did have 2 men back on the hook. I just don't think bowling short, like bowling back of a length and getting the ball to bounce fine, but I don't think the actual short ball will be much use to you on this pitch.
It's a bit tennis bally. Robinson in again. That one was played right behind it from Rahul, just works it into the leg side.
And that's the problem, right? If you've got the 2 men back on the hook, if you bowl anything other than a ball kind of chest high or above, it's just so easy to knock the ball in there for a single.
Yeah. I don't know if he's quick enough really to be bowling.
I mean, if you saw Rohit Sharma spanked Mark Wood at 90 odd miles an hour in front of square from...
Well, it wasn't in front of the square. It was actually a top edge. It kind of went.
Well, no, the one he hit for 4 later.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
Like through mid wicket for 4.
Yeah. It's definitely not a quick pitch. Kohli's facing up as the camera focuses on Shea Pujara. And Robinson delivers and it's left alone outside. Kohli's off stump through the Butler and ain't no run.
England have been a bit both sides of the wicket.
Yes, they haven't bowled great. Moments, flashes, but it's just not consistent.
It kind of looked like they won the toss, bowled first under grey skies, and thought we'll just kind of rock up and do what we normally do, and something will happen. And then when something didn't happen, I don't know if they lost discipline exactly, but it looked like they were searching for stuff to happen.
Yeah, they kind of. It did feel like they were kind of waiting for stuff to happen. Attempted pull by Kohli, threw the shot really early, and lucky not to end it through to the keeper. But he misses it, and there's no run.
Ryan Barish in capital letters to Knackle says, "Get them to bring some over." Seriously.
It's too late. They're already here.
I'm very confused. Are Americans allowed to come here now then?
Yeah, they're double vax and they don't have to quarantine.
Oh.
Of course.
Yeah, so they'll be with us on Sunday. Yeah, well, saying that the last time he came over, he brought me a bottle of some nice hot sauce from the States.
Full outside off stump. Kohli goes right across, works it into the leg side to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Yeah, because isn't it 16th? If you get pinged and you've been double jabbed, you don't have to do the isolation shit anymore, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's on Monday, yeah.
As on Monday, yeah, that's right.
My isolation period ends on Sunday.
It's rather irritating.
I'm pretty sure it was at the cricket. My partner and I and some friends went to Trent Bridge on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure we both got pinged, so I'm pretty sure it was at... Oh my god.
Oh, that's a filthy delivery. Robinson, short, way down leg side. To be fair to Butler, it should be 4 wide. There's no way he's getting anywhere near it. And it's raced away down to fine leg for another 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Almost needs to be a new category, because that's not. I mean, it is almost a wide down leg, but it's not. You know, he could have played a shot at it, I suppose. But what? There's nothing in the world a wicket keeper can do about that.
No.
I know it did go off the seam actually a bit, so it was down leg side and going wider. But like, what is Butler meant to do with that? That's not his fault.
No. Well, this is Ollie Robinson's worst day in Test cricket so far.
I was going to say that is the worst over I've ever seen him bowl.
Jimmy Anderson is in to deliver to Rahul. He's getting wants to come back in now. And Rahul gets right behind, defends it up to mid-off, and there's no run.
On that pinging thing, Knackle, did you have to do the barcode when you went there?
The test centre?
No,
yeah,
to the test match.
Oh, no.
So it picks you up that you were at Trent Bridge anyway?
It picks you up basically on the GPS off your phone.
Really?
Yeah, well that's how it's meant to work.
Yeah. That is an away swinger by Jimmy Anderson. Sells it off outside off stump, and it goes further. Rahul gets across and behind it and lets it past his outside edge through to Butler. No run.
Oh, okay.
So someone's tested positive within some kind of radius.
So there must have been a lot of people at Trent Bridge who got pinged.
Oh, I'd imagine so. I'd imagine at every sporting event there'd be
Lots
plenty.
of people getting pinged, yeah. Which is why they want, they're removing the. You have to isolate if you've got 2 jabs.
I didn't realise it worked just on the GPS. I thought it was when you had to do the barcode when you went into a venue. But
No. That's left alone outside off stump by Rahul. Through the keeper, and there's no run. It works on Bluetooth as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's basically if you've got the app on your phone and it's tracking your location like basically every other app on your smartphone.
Oh, so it has to. So you have to allow location.
Yeah. I mean, I do because otherwise, what's the point in having the app? But I know a lot of people have just said just don't bother with it.
Only works if you've got a smartphone, I suppose.
Yeah. But, like, who doesn't really these days?
My neighbour.
I haven't got an app. That's attempted pull by KL Rahul. Gets an under edge that goes onto his thigh and goes out to the offside, and there's no run. There's milky sunshine in North London, and there's no run.
They're taking on the pull shot, which is fair enough because it is a pitch that you're not that bothered about being rushed. But actually, Rahul and Kohli have both been way too early on almost every pull shot they've played.
Yep. Says the pitch is pretty good slow, eh? Jimmy that's in the slot. Carl Rahul just gets across, drives that beautifully through the covers. There's no one out on the fence, and it'll be 4 runs.
2 plus 2 is our man. 2 plus 2 is our man.
Gorgeous shot. Pretty much, probably KL Rahul's favourite shot. The cover drive and the square drive. Just lent into it a little bit. Not completely a half volley, but a little bit too full. And he's just used the little bit of bottom hand there. Beautiful shot.
Lovely
balance. Lovely balance.
And again, England would have wanted to come out and go wicket straight after tea, get some momentum going, and India stifled them.
Yeah, I mean
that comes back into Rahul, who plays it out towards mid-wicket. They don't go for the single this time as Jimmy goes across the field to himself, and it ends at 58th over, 179 for 2.
We due a change now, aren't we?
I was just about to wonder when the changes were due.
Yes, should be now. If I recall, it should be Jacob, Tony and Bear, but I don't know if the Bishop is back online.
He is not.
Oh, hello.
Well, Jacob is though.
Yes, indeed, here I am. As we just see a little graphic of where Kohli was dismissed in the first test by Anderson. He's shuffling quite a long way across his stumps with Kohli, and seemingly to negate that 4th, 5th stump line outside off and the little outside edge, but so far so it hasn't seemed too vulnerable to the LBW, but that always is the risk you run.
Yeah, although I suppose if you're getting outside the line, the LBW isn't an issue. Maybe as the left armour comes into the attack, maybe there, but again, you've got to get a lot right, I think, on line.
Indeed, we have a change as Sam Curran comes back into the attack. 0 for 40 off his 11 overs as he's in, and a wide one which Kohli has a slash at, and that's quite a good drive, and it won't run away for 4, I don't think. Oh, there's a bit of a mix-up with the fielding, a bit of after you from Hamid and Sibley, but they do save the boundary, and India will just come through, they'll come through for 3, and that brings Rahul on to strike.
So it's a very committed team fielding, and a couple of divots that will have to be replaced. That was a good sort of reaching square drive from Kohli. It was quite wide, but he controlled it very well.
They both sort of went at the same time there, and luckily Sibley managed to get a hand on it and push it back to where he thought Hamid would be, but Hamid was in fact rolling over the boundary rope at precisely the same time. This is a real brothers display.
Hamid was actually in front of Sibley.
Well, they actually kind of went. They both kind of went, no, not me, you, go on then, sort of thing to each other, and then both realised that both have started pulling away, and then both went for it.
As Curran is in, this time left arm round the wicket to Rahul, who drives attractively through the covers, and that will race away for 4.
That's a lovely shot.
It's Nissan Shi. It's Nissan Shi.
KL Rahul's looking like KL Rahul everyone was so excited about in the first half of his test career. His balance is so good when he's driving forward now, and again just a little opening of the faces. Bear and I were talking about, you don't drive straight in England too often, you drive square, and that's exactly what he's done there. Beautiful shot.
Oh, that's a perfect square drive, and Curran just venturing too full, not finding the swing he wanted. It just held its line right into that slot, and Rahul with a great stride forward, driving square as Curran is in again, and again it's driven, and there is a man out there now, but there will only be one, but that's a couple of pretty poor balls from Sam Curran. He's not been great today.
No, he's looked ineffectual in the first game, really, as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Wokes, if fit, will be back in.
Absolutely.
For the
he
third
loves
test match.
Lords. There's Wokes, but he was missed.
There's just no control from the non-James Anderson end.
No.
Robinson's providing a little bit, I suppose.
A little bit.
His last over was not good.
Curran is back over the wicket to Kohli, who defends into the leg side, and there'll be no run.
You could tell he was probably going to come off after that over. He decided to go short at KL Rahul, and it really didn't work.
Indeed, he got that wild one down the leg side, which I think was quite unfairly on Josh Butler, signalled as bye.
It needs to be a new category, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. As Curran is in, left arm over the wicket to right-handed Kohli. Fallen across Kohli, and that is clipped leg side, but a diving Moeen Ali, even though it was going at quite a rate of knots, will regather and deny Kohli a run. Looked a little uncertain at the beginning of his innings, did Virat Kohli, but seeming to, he's never far away from confidence, is he?
No, I mean, you can't read anything into that first Test match.
No.
No, not at all. As Curran running in again with that horrific look on his face, which he always has. He screws up his face coming into bowl. That's wide of the off stump, and Kohli just leaves it alone, being pushed across him. And that ends the 59th over with India 187 for 2. I have no idea who's on socials, but someone please.
That'll be you.
I think it's actually meant to be me. Yes. So the last Jay Grover says I don't have a smartphone. Harry Atkinson says, seeing as I've been busy during the tea interval, Mad Woman only now having today's tea time treat, salted caramel matchmakers. What's a matchmaker?
The small chocolate.
Like kind of. They're tasty, kind of minty sticks and chocolate.
Yeah, they're usually mint.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're kind of thin, chocolatey things.
Linux there implores me to impress the prospective in-laws with homemade currywurst, which I've had some currywurst. It's quite tasty. See if I can. I don't think we're going to be doing that, but could be nice. Brian Barish says, to be fair, most of the hot sauces here have terrible names like Anus Buster and Brain Squeezer.
Nasty. Changing bowling at the other end. It's this man.
Do you know Mark Wood? Yes, he is an England bowler, quite good and pretty quick. So just a normal guy.
And he's running in, KL Rahul.
Except for just one thing.
Wide and left alone.
Third double change of the day from Joe Root.
Yeah, a Root special double change. He does love a good double change. He loves a review and he loves a run out, does Joe Root.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with a double change. Nothing was happening really from either end, unless you want to bowl Jimmy into the ground, but I don't think you do.
Yeah, he bowled quite a long spell either side of tee.
Yeah.
Wood with his patented falling over at the crease manoeuvre to put the batsman off. Used to great effect, both at home and abroad, as Wood is in again to Rahul, again wide and left alone as it thuds pretty serenely into the gloves of Joss Buttler. Good high pace from Mark Wood. It's 88 miles an hour. He's been consistent throughout the day around that 88, 89 and 90 mark.
Exactly.
Averaging about 90.
And it offers something different. I don't mind that. It might go for a few runs. But the old magic ball, hopefully. Don't think he bowled too bad earlier.
Yeah, it's tricky because with all the people who've come in and out, you say maybe we're missing Broad, but he didn't bowl particularly well in the last game either.
No, he didn't.
As Wood is wide of the crease, spearing it in towards KL Rahul's pads, but he clips it pretty comfortably, and it will just be one as Jimmy Anderson jogs round to mid-on, pick it up. Bring Kohli on strike with Rahul on 75 of 167.
No, Broad, he didn't bowl very well in the first test, I didn't think. Maybe he was a bit unlucky. Again, I think India have played and missed pretty well this series, I have to say, for two tests. Some tours it can go horribly wrong, and the plays and misses aren't plays and misses. They're just thin nicks through. So
Lord's 2018, everything took the edge. Every edge went to hand.
Yeah.
As Wood sprints in hard and wide of the crease, and Kohli lets it go. Good bit of bounce there off a length from Mark Wood. Good carry, but pretty innocuous in terms of its line, and Kohli able to just get rid of the bat out of the way. Haven't seen a graphic here that before 2021, 7% of Mark Wood's deliveries in the UK were over 90 miles an hour, and this year it's been 34% of his home test. Well, that's just this game, or maybe another one.
He played both tests against New Zealand.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That longer run up has worked.
So he's certainly getting some express pace going in. As Kohli again leaves that one alone. That looked a quick delivery. It was 88 miles an hour, but started wide, swung away, and Kohli just stretched out and got his bat out the way. The problem is, even with that high pace, he's giving Kohli, particularly here, quite a few sighters, and so if you're Kohli, you're feeling, oh well, I can just kind of judge the line, and it doesn't matter how fast it is. He's not really threatening me.
No, there's a bit of that's true.
Wood doesn't tend to get much bounce out of the surface. He tends to skid the ball on, so it just need a little bit of something else.
As in comes Wood for the final ball of this over, and that's down the leg side and clipped off the hit by Kohli. Moeen Ali running around at fine leg will collect it, so it will just be a single. But that's the end of the 60th over. India 189 for 2.
Jeff Perkins in a joke that works better on paper is Jacob Zuma broadcasting from a Safa cell. Warren Davis in more guerrilla cricket news puns, commentator puns, is the Bishop, a specialist to the Vatican slice. Farong says a fielding effort worthy of the Benny Hill theme. Pity they weren't in the synchronised swimming Olympic team for GB. Oxymoronica, the devil child, always had a knack of picking up wickets, referring to Samuel Matthew Curran. Messi Jez says, is this section of Rahul's innings the part that Sibley yearns for but never quite gets to?
Yeah, well, Curran, when he's running in, does look slightly like Chucky from the films. And this is very true about Sibley. It's just he gets to 20, 30, even 40 off quite a few balls and then just can't seem to kick on most of the time.
Weirdly, he reminds me of Ray Winston in You Sexy Beast. I don't know why. it's the...
As the Demon Child Curran comes round the wicket, left arm round the wicket to Kohli. He was over the wicket to Kohli and round to Rahul, but he's now come round to Kohli, kind of get it into Kohli's pads maybe, as he's stepping across quite far, but not really finding the movement in the air that he wants to.
I mean, does he think he's Wasim Akram? He's going to get the ball to move away from round the wicket?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Maybe he hopes one will just hold its line. Oh, maybe that one did. Thank you, Knuckle, as Kohli has a little bit of a play and miss at that one, which did in fact just maybe seam away a touch or hold its line. And we'll have a look on the replay here. It's a leg cutter from Sam Curran, and it's beaten Kohli's bat and missed the top of off stump by a few inches. But did Kohli there with a slower delivery. T20 skills coming in for the better white ball than red ball bowler Curran, and again beating the bat. That's an uneducated lunge from Kohli forward, pretty wide of off stump, about 7th or 8th stump, and he's stuck the bat out there, not really playing a shot, just kind of defending at it.
That's a pretty poor shot. I mean, by Kohli standards, he's doing what Crawley was doing that we were castigating him for. He's basically playing miles away from his pad, following the ball.
His hands have just followed that straight out as Chucky runs in and gets the bottom edge of the toe of the bat, and that will trickle out into the offside, but the man is back at deep points, so they will get a single as Kohli gets through, bringing KL Rahul, King Legend Rahul, back on strike.
So that angle from Curran going a bit wider on the crease from around the wicket, Kohli I think was expecting the ball to just keep coming into him, and then, as you say, that handsy push, defending a ball that's not going to hit the stumps is rarely a high percentage move.
Indeed, not quite Akram-esque from Curran, but certainly a couple just holding their line perhaps, and that leg cutter moving away. As Rahul cuts, sort of diagonal back cut off the back foot, and that trickles out to again Dom Sibley at deep point and brings Kohli back to strike.
It's also the slope. He's bowling from the nursery end. The slope is taking the ball away from the right-hander, so just the odd one is going to move away a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, it's I was being a little bit facetious when I said, does he think he's Wasim Akram? I don't mind the line of attack. At least he's trying. At least there's a clear plan from Sam Curran in this spell,
as opposed to the spell earlier against Rohit when it was just throw things at the wall and see what would stick. As Kohli defends, and that brings us to the end of the over with India 191 for 2.
Tony Greenall responding to an article that has been written by Aryan Surana, one of our writers, that is headlined "The Noose Tightens on Cheteshwar Pujara due to sustained mediocrity," says, English cricket Twitter, he's shit. Indian cricket Twitter, sustained mediocrity. Indian English is one of the world's greatest gifts. And Warren says, back in my day, there were only 2 types of matchmakers, mint and orange. And
well,
that is us up to date on tweets.
Salted caramel has clearly been introduced. I was only previously aware of the mint and orange. That's all that's ever been in my house, and I'm of a slightly younger generation than Warren, perhaps. Although I don't know him personally. As Wood is short, and that's off the hip of Rahul, running down towards the boundary, but it won't get there as Moeen Ali runs round from fine leg. But that seemed to unsettle KL Rahul a little bit. He just got a bit of a slice glove on it as it kind of darted in off a relatively short length and into his ribs. Let's have a look here. Yes, it's short and it's gloves from KL Rahul. If there was a leg slip in, it would probably have gone straight to him, but that's really not the plan at the moment from Mark Wood. And Rahul moves to 78.
Yeah, it's a slightly awkward line into the body, into the upper armpit region. You've got to be so precise to get it there time and time again. You know, Neil Wagner does it, but not many others can hit that spot that often.
As Wood charges in again, wide of the crease, jumping wide, another short ball. This time Rahul swaying out of the way. It was more on the offside, going well over off stump. 91 mile an hour short ball, and he's just dropped his gloves, got his head out of the way, and let it go through to Butler without much incident.
I've seen Wood being used very much in that enforcer role, going round the wicket with lots of leg side catches, sort of Woody line type of approach. I wonder if we'll see that. We do have a sort of catching. We're talking about, you know, the offside drive fielders moving in. The point is in a very sort of short-ish catching cover point for the one that Rahul maybe just pushes at half-heartedly and pushes in the air, as well as some slips. Are they moving people back on the onside?
I think they've brought a man across.
Here we go. Leg slip and leg gully are in position.
No, the leg slip is walking back across, so that was Joe Root, I think. So just a leg slip, a fine leg, a deep square leg, and a relatively wide mid-on. As Rahul fends at that, and that will run out to the deep point, who I was just about to mention. That's Haseeb Hameed. There's also two slips, and a mid-off.
And a gully.
And a gully. I missed a gully, I'm sorry. But, so a leg side predominant field, but only marginally for Mark Wood. He used that tactic to some effect in South Africa in 2019-20, I seem to remember.
He did, on very quick pitches, admittedly, but yes. I suppose this allows him to bowl short, although I don't think he'd want to be bowling short outside off stump too often.
No, as he's in, Kohli jumping very wide of the crease and angling it back in. That was extremely wide, almost out of the return crease. And Kohli just plods forward and defends with a very straight bat. Was more of a good length delivery, that, perhaps the double bluff, looking for the outside edge. And Kohli has done well with that. That's a large jump from Mark Wood.
A large, late, and not particularly subtle or smooth looking jump.
No, he has jabbed his hand out in the opposite direction towards the umpire. And
kind of wheeled in there. It was about 4 steps to get there, wasn't it?
Magician-type misdirection of Virat Kohli. That one is also back of a length and left alone by Kohli outside his off stump.
No, he does this from time to time, Wood, where he does this very "I'm jumping wide of the crease now" thing. Although he does it, I suppose he does it late enough that it does slightly change the angle, you know, late enough that you don't see it coming. But it's not that smooth looking.
No, but it is surprising when you're actually expecting him to hurl himself down towards the striker's end rather than out to the side. So it could be a useful misdirection, as Wood is coming into the final ball of his over. Again, jumping quite wide, and Kohli looked less comfortable with that, but defended well. It was 92 miles an hour, and that brings the over to the end with India 194 for 2 in an excellent position. KL Rahul 79 of 171, Virat Kohli 9 of 34.
Oxymoronica joining in the competitive pessimism with a tweet sent in from Walroy Palm a little while ago. Oxymoronica says, "If England had opted to bat, I'm sure there would be a few more wickets down."
Probably. Although, as I said, I'm quite optimistic with Crawley out at number 3.
It's a very solid-looking top 3, isn't it? With Burns, Sibley, and Hameed.
Hameed, who in fact made 100 in the county select game against, I think, 3/4 of this Indian bowling attack.
Yeah, Bumrah was in that team, Jadeja was in that team, Shami was in that team, and Siraj, yeah.
So, not exactly the second string of Indian bowlers, and he made a very good 100. As KL Rahul drives Sam Curran, again, beautiful square drive, but they have, just for the purpose of that shot, stuck Dom Sibley back at deep point, and it has gone straight to it.
It's gone straight through where you'd have the man traditional point, and it went aerial straight through there.
Rahul, I think, is pretty happy. If you're going to give me a single there, I'll take a single there. I've seen that tactic used to Joe Root a few times, the deep point, and it does occasionally work.
It just gets frustrating, doesn't it?
Remaining round the wicket to Kohli. And Kohli defends into the offside, and because there is that deep point back, he just plods it down, and they will get a very easy single, because there's Moeen Ali at short cover, who has to cover all that space between point and mid-off.
Did they forget to move the fielder up?
I'm not entirely sure.
It seems odd that you'd have... I know it's Virat Kohli, but he's only on 9.
Yeah, and it did go to, as Bear said, exactly where point would have been, so not the best move, captaincy-wise. Not quite as bad as Tim Payne forgetting to move the field up for a single, and with the tail, as that's fired down the leg side by Curran. And KL Rahul has a swipe at it, but misses it, and Josh Butler will do well to save that. And there's no run. But yeah, odd tactics from England.
Well, they got the decision wrong, didn't they? They should have batted.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, then again, under Grace, guys, if England are 50 for 4, everyone's saying they should have bowled.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, just in general, you should take the initiative by batting, really, in the test, I think. Rarely do you take the initiative by bowling. Even when you bowl a side out for 220, you still got to get those 220 runs.
As Rahul plays slightly across that one from Curran, and it goes out into the offside for no run.
And if two equally matched teams, and the first one gets bowled out for 220 runs, there's a good chance that the second team, if they're equally matched, will, score around about the same runs. So therefore, the pressure is on.
You do get you need 20 wickets to win the game, and you've got those 10 wickets early. You're further ahead than the batting team are. I don't know.
Yeah, only if, exactly.
As Curran is in, and Rahul fills at that one outside off stump, but it somehow, as Bear says, he plays and misses exceptionally, and it's just somehow beaten the outside edge.
Well, in a series like this as well, that's one of those things, I've had 2 tests quite like this. Maybe you could argue that England haven't bowled enough attacking balls, and, fair enough.
How has he not edged that?
Well, exactly.
He's just withdrawn the bat at the last millisecond.
Pretty injudicial flick at it, and he's managed to miss the bat.
Yeah.
And it's a real achievement, that, and it just isn't going England's way today.
He could easily have dragged that onto his stumps off the other edge.
Curran has gone back over the wicket and straight immediately and clipped off the pads by KL Rahul. This is where Curran had problems earlier, venturing far too straight, trying to swing it in every ball and just getting easily clipped off the pads. He's gone back to the tactic as that ends the over.
A sad tweet from Nestlers. R.I.P. Una Stubbs, who has passed away at the age of 84. Lennox Lear is extolling the virtues of currywurst, saying that it's one of those foods that should be celebrated more globally, as it perfectly represents global humanity. Indian seasoning perfection married to German let's put this tasty stuff into intestines perfection.
Yes, sausage.
Yeah. As I say, I've had currywurst. I'm not planning on cooking it this weekend. Would you get Moeen Ali on here? He bowled fairly well in his first spell.
I'm sure he's next in for rotation. We've got a long session.
Yeah, he might come on for Curran, because I think Curran is bowling from the end, which would help the off spin, isn't he? As Wood is it? No, Wood is, if my sight of the swipe is correct, as Rahul leaves Wood out. That was the odd thing about when he bowled Moeen Ali earlier. He bowled Sam Curran and Moeen Ali at opposite ends when.
Well, so he's bowling him through the nursery end. I think actually that brings the outside edge into play, which can be quite useful if the ball's not turning that much.
I suppose so, but
the
problem was it was a bit easy to dance down the pitch to him, because if he got the length or the flight slightly wrong, there was just no chance of.
Yeah, but that's as much to do with the fact that, it's a first day wicket. You wouldn't really expect much to happen unless you're in India on a first day, especially in England. Not really.
As Wood again jumps wide of the crease and Rahul punches off the back foot, and there is still that deep point out there. Potentially contentiously if he stays there for Kohli, which it looks like he is going to, as Steve Hamid strolls back towards the boundary fence.
Again, I understand it to an extent for KL Rahul. I can even understand it for Kohli, but then don't bowl it on a length outside off stump where he can just push it for a single.
Mixed messages perhaps from the England team as KL Rahul is just readjusting his helmet up at the non-striker's end. India need just 2 more to pass the 200 with only 2 wickets down thus far. As Wood is in and Kohli clips that off his pads and they will come back for that 2, and that brings India to 200 for 2 of 63.3 overs.
That's a very
not what
good
you want to
start.
see
No.
when you put a side into to bat.
No, even a collapse now, and you'd expect India to get 320.
Yeah, they do have a slightly longer tail than in the last game, with Shardul Thakur being replaced by Ishant Sharma. But still, when the top order fires like this, 50 partnership up between these two as well as the 200 is brought up. You don't want to see this from an English perspective, as Kohli has a pretty loose drive out far outside the off stump, and they're coming back for 2 off the missed field, and they will get there as Kohli moves to 14. It was a half stop by Dom Sibley there, I think, at point, off a pretty hefty wide drive.
A bit early on the shot again. How close was this to... Oh no, he drove it into the ground. I thought that might have been a dropped chance, but no, that's actually quite a poor misfield from Sibley. He should have stopped that.
Should have done it this level.
Gone through him, and Kohli with a smile and then a grimace on his face as he squints at Mark Wood running in, as Wood is in and Kohli leaves that alone outside the off stump. Good carry from Wood, but a bit back of a length and not quite the right line, and Kohli has really no worries there.
Yeah, Rahul stepped up the pace a little bit. I mean, Virat Kohli's scoring at just over 2 runs and over, but this partnership has put on 50 at nearly 4 runs and over.
Yeah, well, we did think once Sharma went that Rahul had the capability to accelerate, and that potentially what puts his innings aside from an innings of a Dom Sibley, and why he's not come in for the criticism for scoring so slowly, because he just has that extra gear which he's now moved to. As Wood is in and Kohli is defending outside off stump, and there will be no run as we end the 64th over with India 202 for 2.
What do we have on that there Twitter? Nestlers has sent in this is quite an old headline of the day. Tycoon fury at Brexit bureaucracy. I voted leave, but now I've got 10,000 sex asses stuck at Calais. Thank you, the Daily Sport.
Good.
And Warren says, are those lorry drivers' asses on their seats in their cabs? Mayank says, rain in Kingston, of course. West Indies Pakistan is starting today. Pakistan 34 for 2 after 17 overs. Apparently the rain will continue till 8 p.m. UK time. But that might mean you have some nice dinner time watching there at...
Is that a test match?
Sabina Park. Yeah, first test of that series. West Indies chose to field the men out Imran Butt, who was bowled by Kemal Roach for 11, and Abid Ali caught behind by Josh De Silva off the bowling of Jaden Seals. Azhar Ali is 3 not out, Babar Azam is 10 not out. West Indies going in with... Oh no, they're going in with a spinner. Jamal Warrican played, but the attack of Holder, Roach, Seals with the 2 spinners actually, Ruston Chase and Jamal Warrican. And Kyle Mayers, who bowls a little bit of seam as well. Pakistan going in with a strong looking attack of Hassan Ali, Shaheen Shah Afridi, Mohammad Abbas and Yasir Shah, which looks like a handful.
Does indeed. Where's it been playing? Kingston, Jamaica?
Sabina Park, yeah.
As Curran returns for his 15th over, round the wicket, and Rahul leaves it alone outside his off stump. It wasn't particularly close, but a good lengthened line from Curran. Not quite making him play, but was a relatively tight leave as they go.
Yeah, the leaving's been good all series actually, from Rahul and Rohit Sharma.
Yeah, it has really an exhibition on how to judge these things, when to play your shot, when to just draw the bat inside the line. As Curran is in, and that's a little tighter, and Rahul defends that down into the pitch, and there'll be no run. I think we're due a change at the end of this over, aren't we?
Oh, I think we are indeed. I think this is it for me for the day.
Same here. I think I'm done for the day as well.
Yeah, I'll have Hendo, Jack, and Nestor's. Oh well, actually, one of you might have to sub back in for Tony if the Bishop is not operational. Get for a couple of tweets between deliveries. Mark Wood's average in England is 44, says Messi Jez. He must be just about due a wicket.
Yes, but he did mention earlier about that. He did say he would be interested to see, as that's fiddled at outside the off stump. Butler pushes up in the air, but no, there will be a call of not out, and they're thinking about the review. Butler nodding.
That's just fucking terrible. I didn't think it was a convincing appeal, but I don't know.
Butler was absolutely convinced, but no one else noticed anything.
They haven't reviewed it.
He threw that up in the air as though it was the most obvious nick in the world, and no one else moved. He's quite a long way from that, actually.
Yeah,
it does look a long way from it.
Definitely not. No, good choice to not review that, I think.
So what did he hear then? He must have heard something for it to go out like that.
Well, it's happened a couple of times with KL Rahul that there's been a noise after it's passed the bat as he curtain rails the bat inside the line, but gets a thickish outside half of the bat on it, and it goes out to deep point, and they'll get single rotated strike. Let's have a look at this ultra edge. No, he's nowhere near it.
No, and there's no noise anywhere.
No, and the bat's not near the pad either, so I'm not really sure. Did he just hear the ball whooshing past the bat?
Possibly, maybe it was that close. They used to have bats that made clicky sounds. Handles.
Oh yeah, the handles, yes. Used to confuse people. With the bat and the spice
were they
together,
banned?
I think people just worked out how to make better bats.
Oh, okay.
That didn't click with the handle joined to the blade.
As Curran round the wicket to Kohli, firing one in, and that's down the leg side and retrieved by Goss Butler. 78 miles an hour from Curran. With the amount of swing he's been able to extract, it does seem a bit like sort of left arm dob.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's trying stuff. I like his ingenuity. It's not really getting very far, but I like, he's trying. I'll give him that. Kohli's acting a bit skitsy.
Yeah, as Curran is in final ball of this over, and Kohli leaves it alone outside off the stump. That leaves India 203 after 65, and I leave you for the day, I believe, with Hendo, Jack, and Nestor.
Thanks very much, Jacob. Well, I hope to come back on with England having made further inroads into this Indian order, and of course, straight after tea, Robinson went past Virat Kohli's outside edge a couple of times. There was a big appeal for the second one. It wasn't out, but ever since then, Rahul seems to have grown in confidence. Kohli a little bit scratchy, but he's had a little, poorish run by his standards lately. Nestle Boy and Jack are with me.
I was wondering whether he was under any pressure from the Indian media. But
he's always under pressure from the Indian media, isn't he?
Is it? I mean, sort of from a negative standpoint.
I think there's always been talk about his captaincy, not so much his batting, but there's always been talk about his captaincy not being quite what they want at times. And it's difficult now for England because the weather has cleared, really, and it's the best part of the day. It's sort of one of those nice early evenings with the sun spreading over the ground, shadows beginning to lengthen. And I'm getting all John Woodcock in my old age.
I do like the new stand either side of the media centre. It looks a lot more balanced now.
Oh, you like that? I wasn't sure whether I did.
I'm not sure of the shape, but it looks better than it did. I think.
Yeah, I was never really keen on those two stands. I mean, they ought to have been better considering they were behind the bowler's arm. But you are quite distant. I don't know whether it's the same. You probably are. I mean, it's probably still the same distance. But I don't know. It does perhaps balance things up a little bit. And very much in the vein of the media stand in terms of the architecture, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, I like things to be all, in line.
You do. You've got OCD.
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit. Maybe 203 for 2. And Wood is going to bowl to Rahul. He's got a short leg in. And this is tucked past the short leg. He's also got a deep square leg and a long leg back. So there may be some chin music coming up.
What do we think? India are going to break a 300 run barrier today?
Well, I think, what did we say we could go on till? I think we said we might go on till 7:10 because of the various delays at time.
7:20 apparently.
7:20, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm finding myself a little bit put off by Knuckles. Knuckle has got a... Is that you? Is that just a picture of you, Knuckle? I think it is. And I keep thinking he's about to say something, but it's just a picture of him, frozen in time. Wood bowls short, and Kohli goes down with the minimum of fuss. And, well, it might have been a good conditions to bowl at India this morning. It's looking much less like that now. And it's beginning to take a little bit of a difficult proposition, this stand.
Just going on from that sex-ass tycoon thing I sent in earlier, one of my friends has messaged me saying, I don't remember being told by the careers officer at school that sex-ass tycoon was a possible vocation.
I hadn't heard that. Probably should be. Wide on the crease and angled into... Kohli gets caught up between glove, pad and bat, and then just drops to the floor by the Indian captain. And there is no run. Which of you guys is on tweets?
Jack
is on tweets. Okay, we'll come to that. We can actually probably come between balls if there's enough to talk about, because Wood has a pretty long run up. Takes him a while to get back there. England should get a second new ball tonight, which is not always the case. Halfway through the 66th over, Wood is in again, wide on the crease, looking for the bouncer, but it's rather loopy. Seems to die in the pitch as Kohli just ducks underneath it again. Any tweets? Is there much purchase on Twitter or various social media at the moment?
Oxymoronica says Kohli said he would have batted first, but it was a toss he was glad to lose. The conditions should have been really good for swing bowling this morning, but they didn't get the wickets. Now the sun is out, the decision looks to have backfired. 1-0 to India. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good the conditions really were for swing bowling as it turned out.
It didn't look like there was much.
I thought there was a bit. I thought there was a bit of both.
It's a juicy first 10 overs, but if you bowl first, I mean, you'd want 40 overs of dangerous bowling.
Well, he's now round the wicket. One sprays this across Kohli, who leaves it alone. I thought there was always a little bit there, but perhaps not as much as you would have hoped for. Certainly not as much as England got that night in 2018 when India were at Lords and bowled them out for just over 100, I think it was. When India waited all day to bat, pretty much.
Maybe we want over movement.
I think there's another thing going on here, whereby there's a whole dynamic between the two teams. And India are better.
Oh, India are better. I think we've all come to terms with that now. But it's good being the underdog, isn't it? In comes Wood, bowls more into the ribs. Doesn't quite get up as high as he wanted. Well played and controlled by Kohli down to the man at short square leg. And that is the end of the over. Continue with that thought.
Well, it doesn't really matter if you bat or bowl first. It doesn't matter as much as people think whether you bat or bowl first. It matters a lot more whether you're the best team or not, and England aren't. So it's not to be entirely unexpected that Rohit Sharma scores some runs. And I mean, KL Rahul maybe wouldn't be your number one candidate, but he's not rubbish, is he? He'd be in the England team. Leah says, sound the follow-on option enabled, Claxon. That's a little bit far ahead, maybe. O'Neill Harris, Dom Sibley is at a different point in his career. He's just started, while Rahul is firmly established and 4 years older. One average is 30 and the other 36. Sibley is okay, but he's not great. I mean, Rahul gets the advantage of playing on better wickets where the bowling is less threatening as well. Sibley does the hardest thing that you can do as a batter in Test cricket.
Sense after your article. You're a bit of a Sibley fan, aren't you, really?
Not really a fan.
Bit of a cheerleader. I'm joking. Outside the off-stump, swinging back in a little bit. Raoul's got right across. If that had been coming back, he would have had pad in en route.
You love him, you do.
I think I'm more of an England realist. I mean, who's the better option, and what he's doing actually so horrific?
No.
No, I think
I think the problem with Sibley with a lot of people is just it's aesthetics.
It is, yeah.
And sometimes he can really slow. He can be really slow.
Fucking James Vince and Zach Crawley.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, this swings quite a lot as Curran is now round the wicket to Rahul, but it goes too far down the leg side. Needs to start a little bit further outside off stump, but not always sure that those are going to swing back. So he's getting a little bit of swing here, but he's got to get it to a little bit straighter or a little bit further outside off stump, should I say.
I think for so long England fans have been yearning for someone who doesn't get out opening, but when it happens, and that is now, they're moaning because he doesn't look good.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple of times he should have gone on, probably. This is outside your stump, but nicely played by Rahul. On the back foot, chopping it to Gully and Burns Fields. It is all about the aesthetics. I mean, he is, and I don't think he's helped by the fact that he opens with Burns. It's almost as if the combination of the two unorthodox cricketers makes it seem worse from an aesthetic point of view.
I just think that it must, surely, I don't know anything, I'm not a coach, but surely it must be easier to find another shot for Dom Sibley than it is to build an entire game around Zach Crawley's cover drive.
Curran bowls again onto the legs and clipped out towards mid-wicket. They think about a second. Jimmy Anderson rather falls as he tries to pick it up, so they, having paused and waited, they are able to get through for the second. 206 for 2.
I think it'd be very difficult to change anything in Sibley's game. I mean, mentally he's so locked into that way of playing, and it works, by the way.
Well, it works to a certain extent.
You start to tinker with it, suddenly he's out for 2 every time or something. You've got to be careful.
Curran again. Slower ball, I think, at Rahul waited for and then pressed out towards backward point. Burns does the fielding again. There is no run.
And then we're moaning that we've got no bloody openers.
Basically, he needs to score one more boundary per 100 balls he faces, and then he'd be Rory Burns. That's the difference between them.
Yeah. And like you say, we don't know. Maybe he does try, but it just doesn't.
Well, there was talk in the first test that he had closed his stance a little bit. Now Curran goes past the outside edge of Rahul as he pushes forward, and then stands there with his head down, looking at the ground as if he's been working out there for about 40 overs, not 14. That's the end of the over. Tweets.
Messages on the tweets. My sense is that today's bowling and pitch conditions are not dissimilar to what England's bowlers will face on some pitches in Australia. Not as hot, obviously. Thus far, only Jimmy seems to be able to maintain the pressure. I don't think he's a million miles away there. The thought occurred to me earlier that this felt a little bit like a drop-in wicket, and it felt like England had brought knives to a gunfight to some extent with the couple of their bowling choices. Warren, come on, Gorilla Hendo, get some wickets. Jeff Perkins, are you all expected to bow down to the picture of Knackle? Change of shifts?
Yes, we sort of say namaste. Do we say namaste to it and things like that?
I've got a copy of it on my wall.
Have you? That's very worrying. Ollie Robinson, by the way, is going to come back on to replace Mark Wood. So if the Bear's there, he could give us another jingle.
So here's to you, Ollie Robinson. Dizzy loves you now, you change your tune. You're not a buffoon. How will you bowl, Ollie Robinson? No one took more county wickets than you the last year or two. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
And maybe that first ball from Robinson is kind of indicative of England's bowling today, with the exception perhaps of Anderson. Just a little bit too wide. There was a bit of wobble, there was a bit of swing. It started wide, went wider. I do think this pitch is quite slow. I keep seeing Mark Wood bowl on slow pitches. Whenever he seems to get a test match, the pitch seems to be dead. Just dying to see him on a really quick wicket. One that might be good for batting, but also would test the batsman in terms of speed. That's gloriously put away by Kohli. It was a big half volley, and he just leant imperiously into that one, and away it goes for 4 runs.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
Start of a new spell from Robinson, but he looks a bit tired on the evidence of those 2 deliveries.
Looks absolutely shattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think actually Curran has been over bowled today, considering how he's bowled. I thought he did quite well for 3 overs this morning, and just a little bit more luck, he might have got one through onto the pads, might have picked up an LBW. But since he went for those 4-4s, hasn't really looked particularly dangerous. This one is left alone by Kohli, who's now moved on to 18 from 49 deliveries. And the score is 210 for 2. And England seem to have lost their mojo. They got it briefly. They got it briefly in that period where Anderson came on for his third spell in the hour before tea, or the 50 minutes before tea. But it seems to have gone since Anderson continued. He bowled 6 overs up to tea in that spell, then had a break and came back and bowled 3 more. But you don't want to overuse him. And there it is again, right in the slot for Kohli. This time he'll be annoyed that he didn't put it away. It's picked up as extra cover, and he's already swearing about it, isn't he?
Anyone got any GPL entries in play?
Yep.
Oh, good point. Good point. 210 for 2. Let's see what's on the list. Did we have over 40 people today? I think we had
quite a lot. It's a big prize. I entered for the first time.
Oh, you entered. Well, listen. Now we know how to attract younger people in. We have to offer 200 quid a time. Flipped away behind square. Another single. In fact, Kohli's thinking about coming back for a second. Interestingly, as we see that shot from the tavern stand, there is some very dark cloud behind the grandstands. Don't know whether that's going to come in at any point and cause any problems.
Yeah, Robinson looks absolutely buggered, doesn't he?
He does. He doesn't look. In fact, he's fallen over.
Oh, he's done a wood.
He's done a wood. A tribute to Mark Wood. He's got further to go, and he's not quite as graceful as he tumbles. But he's gone for 35 runs. He's just about to complete his 16th over. And in he is again, left alone by Rahul outside the off stump. India finished the 68th over on 211 for 2. Tweets.
So I was just looking at the GPO entries.
Oh yes,
quite a lot, aren't there, coming up? We had a good one in from Jeff Perkins, who asks, "Are you or have you ever been a member of the Sibley Party?" # Senator Hendo McCarthy. Leah, the tricky part seems to be convincing opposing teams to successfully build English batting lineups around Crawley's cover drives. 22 overs to go today. How many runs do I need to win this?
Oh right, okay. Where are you? Let me have a look at where you are.
I've got 5. I've actually got 5 in.
You're Hopi. You're Hopi, presumably.
From 217 up to 260 odd.
So 217, 231, 248. I reckon 249. You could be in. Is there any more of you further down? 264. 264.
264 is my best bet, I think. 22 overs to go. There'll probably be a few go slows once the second new ball comes back or comes in. So that
get away from my 273. Hopi.
Well, we've got disinterested hand job, which I presume is Mog. He's made a few entries today. If it isn't, it's someone who's an admirer of Mog, and we should all admire Mog, as you know. Moeen Ali is going to come back into the attack. Sam Curran is rested for the time being. A slip and a short square leg. A man at backward square leg, mid wicket, mid on fairly deep, and he's in. Back goes Kohli on 19, defends to mid wicket. Now, Moeen Ali has got Kohli on a few occasions, has he not? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he has. And that said, probably on spinnier pitches than this one is at the moment. He's in again outside the off stump, covers up right outside that off stump, does Kohli, allowing it no chance of passing, defends back to the bowler.
I'm probably the only guerrilla cricket person who has bought disinterested handjob music.
What, the album?
Yeah.
You probably are, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in my collection yet.
No, it's not your kind of thing, Hendo. It's not Chet Baker.
Chet Baker. In comes Moeen Ali, is whipped away through square leg. It'll only be a single. Wood is doing the fielding. And India moved to 212 for 2. Well, the strange thing is, I think Moeen Ali's bowling well. And I think he bowled well earlier, but there's just nothing in the pitch really for him at the moment. I'd like to see him bowl this well on a 4th or 5th day pitch, but unfortunately that's not what he's got presented to him. He's gone for 21 runs. He's halfway through an 8 over. And he's into Rahul again. And Rahul is forward and defends it straight back to him.
Yeah, Moeen's got Kohli out 5 times in Test cricket at an average of 34.2.
Yeah. But I wonder whether he's got him out on the first day of a Test. He's in again, bowls, and nicely angled out into the offside. There's a big gap there, really, so he only had to open the face, and there was a run.
That sounded like the cricket equivalent of a wet Wednesday night in Stoke.
I was thinking of it as a wet Tuesday night in Stoke. I don't know why. Tuesday's further away from the weekend, so it's even more depressing. Moeen in again. Forward comes Kohli. They're going to take a single as he pushed that into the offside where there is very little cover. I guess he's looking to get him to go for that drive. Doesn't really need to if he can just pick off the singles. He's kept the strike. He's gone to 21. India 214 for 2.
Tuesday's definitely a bit more League One than Wednesday, which is a bit more Champions League.
Early round of the Carabao Cup.
Yes, it's the dregs of the footballing calendar land on a Tuesday, don't they? Jeff Perkins, if you want to attract young people to the GPL, you should do it in Bitcoin. There's a suggestion, Hendo. So there I was, quoting Stuart Broad, says this should be concerning, and Broad says, there's no demons in the pitch right now. If India see off this period, they could post 350 plus. Well, I mean, I think 400 is probably where they'll end up from here. Probably, I'd have thought. I mean, unless something changes massively, it's certainly a decent pitch to bat on. Leah, King Legend, made 16 runs the last time he played on an AstroTurf tricky. What?
So the off-stump, Ollie Robinson started another over. We're going to have to clarify this tweet.
On a ast and tricky pitch. Fast?
Arse?
Nasty pitch.
Last? Fast.
Right.
Who knows?
Sex arse?
Maybe it's an acronym. Played on an AST and tricky pitch. Who knows? Messages. You took 273 Nessers. How very dare you? I demand royalties.
I'm sorry. I didn't do it deliberately, Messi.
Robinson in again, bowls to Kohli. Kohli leaves extravagantly outside the off stump. Now I can bring you those details about Moeen and Kohli by series. 2014 in England, he was out once and averaged 17. 2016 in India, he was out once and averaged 97. 2018 in England, out once, averaging 40. And this most recent series, the winter that's just passed, he was out twice, averaging 8.5. That's brought the average down, hasn't it? Mind you, we know what those pitches were like. They were turning square. Robinson in, bowls, onto the front foot comes Kohli. He's going to get a single at least as it's pushed wide of mid-off. Wood, I think, scampering round and gets the dive in. And we'll keep them to the single. Kohli goes to 22 from 58. I mean, you've got to remember, okay, Ajinkya Rahane may not be in the greatest of form, but you've got the well, I don't know how to describe him. The pant to come.
Well, he could blow all the GPLs out the.
He could. Well, I don't think
if he
would he play like that tonight? I'm not 100% sure he would, because India are in a pretty good position. It's not like they really need to take the game away from England. They've taken it far enough already.
Yeah.
So we might just see him play, calmly, relatively calmly.
Yeah. Hello. I don't think he's going to be in tonight.
No, I think that's a bit hopeful, isn't it, from an England perspective, the way things are looking. Get that new ball. This one comes back into Rahul, who helps it on its way out to deep square leg, where Moeen Ali fields. He's festooned in cap, looking every inch an old-style cricketer.
These two will want to just nudge and nurdle their way to close, won't they?
Well, yeah.
That's basically
very happy with that.
And just let the runs trickle.
Here's a question.
Go on.
So I have a ticket for tomorrow. What do I want to happen in the next hour and 25 minutes?
Robinson in, bowls, and now that comes back into Kohli, and it's forced out into the onside behind square. whoever was at mid-wicket had to race round and was keen to prevent the second run, which he did.
Have you ever seen Kohli play live?
No.
So you'd quite
you want
you'd
Kohli
quite like
to
that,
play
wouldn't
in.
you?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
watching these two, if they're both in, should be quite entertaining. If you want to see good batting,
Take or
depends
leave
whether
KL Rahul.
you could leave KL Rahul, would you? What about Rishabh? You want to see Rishabh?
Oh yeah.
That would be good. I think that would be good.
Rishabh and Kohli together might be quite entertaining. Although it would completely take the game from England. So yeah, it depends whether you've got an England hat on or whether you just want to see some spectacular cricket. We've got the on Hayden. Someone's coming in the on Hayden position. God knows why. It never does anything. Robinson in bowls. Back goes Rahul. Pushes into the offside. I mean, the only reason for that position is to stop the non-striker running. So we're going for the run out. That's what it is. Well, we're not, because that's the end of the over. I'm not a fan of that position.
That was the thing that Sussex did in the county championship when they did some analysis of where players ran, and they coached their bowlers to get in the way of people running twos.
Is that right?
I don't know, apparently. I don't know how well it works, but it was something they had to look into. Leah, I like both Disinterested Handjob and Tangerine Dream. Am I normal, or should I seek help? Definitely help. The Jersey Jingler, Tuesday night, early round Carabao Cup tie is the dregs of football. Guerrilla Cricket once again taking a shot at my beloved hometown, the Shrimps, after a glorious victory over Blackburn. If this keeps up, I'm going on jingle strike.
Defended into the offside by Kohli as Moeen Ali starts a new over. The Shrimps, Southend. No, who are the Shrimps? Morecambe, sorry, yes. Driven straight with that wonderful little whip of the bottom hand by Kohli, and that will race up to the nursery end for 4 runs.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
He's taken that from 10 inches outside off stump and whipped it straight on the onside of the pitch, out of the reach of Moeen Ali, and out of the reach of the mid-on as well. Really good shot. Moeen in again. Kohli forward defends this one straight back to him, and there is no run. Yeah, Morecambe have had a really good start to the season, haven't they? And they've nabbed a couple of our players.
Football shouldn't exist in the summer.
No, I agree with you, really. Moeen in again, bowls and pushed into the offside. Thinks there's a single. Probably isn't. Johnny Bairstow is patrolling at a fairly squarish cover.
Premier League starts tomorrow, doesn't it? We're playing someone. Brentford?
Yep.
I didn't even know Brentford were in the Premier League.
Oh, yeah.
Brentford are
the coming team. Flicked away on the back foot, finding room on the leg side for a single. Kohli moves to 28. He keeps the strike, does he? No, there's one ball to go.
All the Brentford fans has just left us.
Messi Jez, straw clutching 101. Glorious victory against Blackburn.
That's pretty good for Morecambe, though. Morecambe, of course, you've got up through the playoffs, didn't they? From League 2. They've got McLaughlin. They've got a guy called Sean Harrison, who basically played about 2 minutes for AFC Wimbledon before being injured, and has not been seen again until now. Onto the back foot goes Rahul. He's going to get a single as he pushes this straight towards long on for Rahul. Long on for Moeen.
He blasted a 6 earlier, didn't he?
He did blast a 6.
That's probably it for the series now in terms of any kind of attacking field.
Yeah, I'd like to see him try again, and why not? You know, you might just induce a lack of concentration or a loss of concentration from him. I think that's the only way we're going to get a wicket, really, England. Is Mark Wood about to come back on? No, he's just had a word with Joe Root, puts his cap back on. So
he's just told him he thinks he's a horse. Oi, Joe, come here. Do you know this, Joe? I thought I'm a horse.
Yeah, one or two. People might have heard that one by now. Robinson's going to continue. Sorry, Jack.
O'Neill Harris says, "How's the over rate going, guys?" I had no idea how you even check that, to be honest.
It's going quite well, actually, because if we're going to 7:20, and it's now 2 minutes to 6, you've got 70. Got this wrong. 80-something minutes. 82 minutes left today. Down the leg side from Robinson. Rahul tries to flick it, but makes no contact. 82 minutes. 19 overs in 82 minutes with Moeen Ali on. Ought to be doable. And in fact, kind of worrying. Moeen Ali will probably stay on at one end to try and get them up to those 80 overs as quickly as possible. But then who do you bring back into the attack? Robinson will have bowled himself out, but he's on his last legs as it appears at the moment anyway. Anderson presumably will come back, and it will be Wood. So maybe that's what he was saying rest. Oh, no, that's brought back in, hits him on the pad low. They're going to take a leg by. Robinson can't believe it. If he'd followed that in, he might have stopped that. He was too busy appealing. I think there was an inside edge.
Looked like
we
it.
shall see. We shall see in a minute.
We're not going to review it, surely.
Let's have another look at this. And comes back into him, big inside edge, and really well spotted by Kohli to call Rahul through. And that takes Rahul into the 90s, at 90 off 197. Trying to work out, he had 16, was it, when India were on 75, and when Rohit was out for 83, I think the score was 126. Robinson in again, and gets that to swing in. It started a little bit straight. Kohli's actually annoyed that he didn't put back to ball there. Hit him on the pad. And so he remains on 28. And if Kohli gets in, and Rishabh comes and plays one of those crazy innings, England might be batting by lunch tomorrow after the declaration. Anyway, at the moment, 224 for 2, keeping an eye on the GPL. We had lots of entries today, which is very good of you to get involved. Guerrilla Prediction League flicked away from in front of his pad, but played nicely. Well done, Hamid, because that must have travelled quite quickly to him, but he stayed down and took it cleanly. And there was no run. We'll have a change at the end of this over, coming into the ball-by-ball chair, presumably, or certainly if Tony's internet has started to recover. I think he's been shouting at some people from Virgin. He told me on WhatsApp earlier. Then we'll have Tony doing ball by ball. Can't be guaranteed though. Where is he? He's not here yet. I'll keep going till he gets here. Outside the off stump from Robinson and left alone by Kohli. Now we have some figures from Knuckle. Rahul before Rohit got out, 33 off 118. Rahul after Rohit got out, 57 off 79. Yeah, he certainly started to look more attacking when Rohit was out. Maybe it was to do with how uncertain Pujara was looking as well. He took on the mantle of the senior player, although of course he isn't really to Pujara. Robinson in again. Oh, he's knocked that in the air, but between the man on Hayden and the short leg, it did pop up in the air. If it had someone a bit straighter, it would have been a nice catch, but it isn't. And that will be drinks. Tony is here. Tony is here.
I am here. Let's hope
He
I
is
stay
here.
this time.
I'm moving on to tweets, I believe.
Yeah, I'll do the last one. That's up.
Oh, go on. Yeah, tell us.
Jersey Oak says it was 222 for 2. So exactly where were the Richie impressions? I don't know if you want to...
Well, I was about to get one in, but you came in over with a tweet. I thought, well, a tweet
compulsory?
is more important than me doing a pathetic, quite frankly, pathetic Richie Benno impersonation.
Well, we've got a few minutes for drinks now.
Oh, that's true.
We missed out on Nestler's on-air COVID test earlier, so we've got to entertain people.
Oh, did he
somehow.
actually do it? Did he do it?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
No, he didn't. Oh, okay.
Chickened out.
I don't blame him. I got one from my brother, and then when I read the instructions, it's... Well, I didn't read the instructions. He told me what you're supposed to do, and I thought, I don't really fancy that, to be honest. But there you go. There you go. So where are we up to on tweets? Let me find...
I think that's it.
That's it. Are we're actually up to date?
I believe so. I think the thronging masses of England fans that usually tune in and tweet at us have been battered into submission by KL Rahul today. Oxymoronica, 1 minute.
Don't forget, there's also YouTube and... Oh, not YouTube, sorry.
There's no YouTube.
There's 2 Facebook channels and Hot Mic as well.
I did take a look at the Facebook channel, but I don't think there was much going on there. There were a few people watching, but nobody typing.
Yeah, we've been thrown off our second. Can we create a third YouTube channel?
We're on our backup channel apparently, says Knuckle. So we've got.
Oh, I thought we'd been chucked off that.
No, we were at lunchtime, and now we've somehow inveigled our way back on again.
Oh, okay. It's good to know.
I don't quite know what magic was deployed. Maybe we got the bear to swear at them like I was swearing at Virgin. I don't think it necessarily works, but it helps me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It probably helps him. I don't
know how many years ago it was. John Lewis. I had so much trouble with John Lewis that I was. If you think you've heard a Hendo rant, you haven't.
He had a wicked away swinger. I could see why you found him difficult. Oh, not that John Lewis.
Not that John Lewis. No, John
okay.
Lewis with an H, and with the really crass Christmas adverts.
Never knowingly undersold.
No. But
Never knowingly, that gets you away. We just say, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't know about it." That's the worst advertising line, anyway. Ever.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Hey, look,
isn't it?
Debenhams are selling these for £1. You're selling them for £1.50. Well, we didn't know that.
Debenhams aren't selling anything to anyone anymore.
Well, no, I know. It dates me already, doesn't it?
Although I think
this partnership, England got to be worried, aren't they?
Oh, I think we have. Oxymoronica says, get Sibbers on. Did we do that one? I don't think we did. Leah says, not a good number 8. Sorry, Gary. She's changed her name again. Says, Tony's internet troubles sound like my time in Munich. I solved them by moving back to a civilized country. Fuck Bavaria! Okay.
I could have a word with the government and see if I'm allowed to move out of the UK.
I've only been to Bavaria once and I quite liked it, but then maybe that's as a tourist.
Oh yeah, well me too. Full of forests and cars.
I didn't see the forest, but Munich's a pretty interesting city centre, isn't it? Colourful.
Isn't that what BMW stands for, isn't it? Bavarian Motorworks.
Is that right?
I believe so. I'm sure Leah will tell me if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that is true, yeah.
It sounds feasible.
Yeah, no, it is. Beautiful part of the world. The Rheingau as well, beautiful. The Rheingau is a beautiful part of Germany. That's one of mine. Used to be when I go to Germany a bit. When I used to go to Germany, I'd visit there. Anyway, we're going to see Moeen Ali, who's certainly not interested in the wine produce of the Rheingau.
No, he wouldn't.
He is interested in trying to break this, what is now a 74-run partnership, as Anderson and Joe Root take on India with a bit of mixed help from 9 others, it would seem.
A supporting cast, really, isn't it? I mean, they haven't got big parts. And I know you're going to try and make a joke out of that.
No, I'm not. I was going to let it sink in and wait for you to do it yourself. As in comes Moeen Ali, onto the back foot goes KL Rahul and punches this rather hurriedly, I thought, away to mid-wicket.
I thought that almost got through him, actually.
Kept a little bit low on him, perhaps. Certainly nipped back in at him. Encouragement for Moeen Ali, and he comes again, gives this one plenty of air. And KL Rahul just leans forward and strokes it easily away into the offside, and they'll take a single.
I do feel like rewarding a batter with a run for blocking a ball is a bit negative.
Well, that was block
effectively.
Plus. I think that was block plus.
What?
I think he knew what he was doing.
Block plus.
It was block plus. I wouldn't call that a block. Anyway, Captain Kohli, there's a slip, and that very short mid-on, and this is whipped away to mid-wicket again, where the unmistakably coiffured Hasim Hamid does the fielding, and there is no run. Lord's looking beautifully full. We have to say that it's contractually obliged for Test matches, and the atmosphere is electric, as this one is again pushed away to mid-wicket by Kohli, and again there is no run. I thought the Harrison interview was pretty interesting, Hendo. I know you were literally following every single word.
Yes, I was.
In comes Moeen Ali again, flicked off his legs beautifully by Kohli. Not going to run this time. Jack will be delighted that a defensive push doesn't get him a quick single. That's the whole point of a quick single, Jack.
What were the highlights?
What, the Harrison interview?
Yes.
You mean you haven't read our website?
In comes Moeen Ali, back foot, and Kohli steers this away to cover. Again, they choose not to run. You will find the highlights. Don't let us give it away. But if you go to GorillaCricket.com news, you will certainly find a beautifully written article that sums up a sweating Mr. Harrison as he was
very sweaty.
Grilled. As he was grilled.
He looked He looked like an MP that'd been caught with his trousers down
by Michael Atherton, whose colours were worn quite squarely on his sleeve, I thought, in terms of seeing the world through the eyes of the counties. Anyway, Jack, do we have anyone else now that we've alerted you to a few other channels that might be talking to us?
I'm no longer on social.
Okay, who is?
It's me, sorry. I can't possibly open yet. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to sort of pass on that because I can't possibly open another window on my computer because I have about 200 windows open already. which
There you
includes tonight's match report, which I'm halfway through. So I'm sorry to those of you. Just don't talk to us if you're on Facebook for the time being, or get yourself a Twitter account, because it's the place to be. There's so much love. There's so much love on Twitter.
Can you get into the 2 Facebook accounts just to keep an eye on it? Normally, I at least name check people on Cricket Tracker India. As Mark Wood is going to be into the attack. We should have jingled him up. And his first ball is fairly harmlessly played into the onside again by Rahul, who's into the 90s now.
Well, he's trying everything, I think. I think he's trying things, Joe Root, isn't he? He's switched between Robinson and Wood. Wood bowled a spell. Robinson came on, didn't look very effective. Wood is back on. Who is he going to be left for with the new ball? I mean, if Wood bowls 3 or 4 overs here, by the time they get to 80 overs, it's only really got Anderson and Curran.
Or Robinson?
Well, no, but is he going to bring Robinson back again?
He
looks exhausted.
Jagged
I
in a
wouldn't
bit
put it past him.
to Rahul, and he just drops the bat in time. As I was looking over Wood's shoulder there as the camera was sort of following him from behind. The media centre with the sort of elliptical Compton and Edrich stands just looks like a giant insect that's about to take off. You have to catch it from a certain camera angle, or maybe it might just me that sees that.
It's not the flying snails again, is it?
No, it's Les escargots qui volent, as they are known in France. 2:25 for 2. This is still very much India's day. This one is flicked off his legs very nicely by KL Rahul down to long leg. They will take a single, much to Jack's chagrin. He doesn't like a little nudge. He likes either a proper shot.
He hit that to the outfield. I mean, I think if you're Moeen Ali's trying to bowl just outside off stump, and I feel like that's where the block's going to go. So don't let them just run through.
So it's not the act of taking the single.
No, it's
annoys you. It's the fact where the fielding team is letting them do it.
Yeah, I understand why they're doing it. They're leaving that open for him to drive, but the problem is there's just no real turn there. So even if he does drive, I don't think you're going to find your way between bat and pad at the moment.
The none for 50 for Mark Wood. Those 2 slips go down. He's in, and he's beaten the outside edge of a very tentative little prod from Virat Kohli. Mark 1 up as a moral victory for Mark Wood. Sadly, it doesn't put a 3 into the wickets column, but he's definitely got a bit of late movement there, didn't he? Just moved off the seam and away from Kohli.
They just held its line, maybe. Yeah.
I think there was just a shade. The ball that Jimmy Anderson bowled to get rid of Rohit was magnificent. Having sort of sent to away, balls that swung away from him, and then getting the one to cut back and just take the top of his off stump was just a masterpiece of bowling. Wood is in, and this one is quick and low, and Kohli has to play it into the offside, where I think that's Sam Curran, was it? Does the fielding, and again there is no run.
Let me catch up with some tweets. O'Neill Harris says, great job, Gorillas, thanks for the coverage. Nesta says, Hindo's fury at John Lewis was priceless. Isn't that a sort of advertising slogan that they use? Something like that? Or is that someone else? Peter Lloyd says, on the backup channel, this morning's video was pinged, not the channel itself. Okay.
Well, that's good to know.
That was the channel, anyway.
2:26 for 2. We're looking at Jimmy. He's looking pensive, possibly thinking, why is it always me on my own? As this one comes back into Kohli, but he gets nicely on top of it, guides it to third man, takes a single. That's what I mean. You see the insect now? Did you see it there, or you were just too busy looking at tweets?
I was too busy looking at tweets.
The flying. Well, it's the sort of the ellipse of the Compton and Edrich gives it the wing effect, and then somehow the sort of what used to be called Cherry Blair's mouth, the sort of the media centre, sort of looks like its eyes, and it looks like this giant thing looking at you.
Well, it actually looks worse than that. It looks to me like 3 Cherry Blairs all having a chat. You really wouldn't want to be on the end of, would you? I wouldn't have said.
Great music says, 3 Cherry Blairs.
The BMW stands for Not Bishop's Motoren Verker. Not Bishop's, no. I don't think it was Bishop's. Internet Rants, says Messi Jez. I'm surprised you didn't hear me in Wimbledon today when I was cursing the Bradmans at TP Link. Break off.
It's Moeen Ali. Again, he has that slip and the short mid-on, but it's just steered easily away to mid-off, and that will annoy Jack, because that was a very gentle stroke that just enabled them to take a quick single, which it seems England were happy to concede. Maybe they want KL Rahul on the 90s on strike.
Well, as I say, I think he's looking for that spin between bat and pad, getting him to drive. But I mean, he may have a man back. If he has, it's pointless.
Oh, and this hits him on the pad, hops up high, says Jack.
Yeah. Might even have been outside the line. I don't think they were very interested in it for very long, were they?
Have a look. It pitched outside off
big
inside edge. Big
Nice
old
hit
inside
it.
edge.
Yeah.
It was also quite high. So it caught him above the knee roll. I mean, his hands upon his head in exasperation. In he comes again. Plenty of flight. Back foot by Curl Rahul. Away to cover. And again, there is that jogged, easy, irritating single from a fielding side perspective. Joe Root has his hands on his hips. He's a man with a lot on his mind, I suspect. Is Joe Root. No captain likes to put a team in and find that they're 229 for 2, edging towards the closer play.
Yeah, indeed.
Back foot goes Kohli. Sorry if you can hear anything in the background. That's my Alexa now telling me my Wi-Fi name has changed. I know it has. I just haven't had the time to alter it, Alexa. So stay off my case. 229 for 2. Kohli is on 30. Rahul with 93. And Kohli just flicks this, but he flicks it to mid-wicket. And there is no run. He's still got, even though he's into his 30s now, isn't he, Joe Root? Somehow
Well,
he's still...
I think he's 30, yeah.
Well, he is 30. So he still looks quite little boyish to me, though. Especially when things are going against him, as this one again is just pushed to mid-wicket. Seems when he does the fielding.
So all the time then. We've got a few people on the other things. Umesh, Kewell, Amal, and Edmund have all said hello on Facebook.
Okay, let me finish off Messi's tweet. He says, if you didn't hear me where you are, because I was cursing the Bradmans at TP Link, who don't answer their modem support line on days with a Y in them. But I recommend using the net to contact them. It's a good job the dog is already deaf. Oh dear. That sounds a bit worrying. BMW does indeed mean Bayerisch Muttern Werke, Tony Bishop, but Bavaria is a deeply conservative and xenophobic place. People would routinely pretend to not understand me because I spoke High German and not the local dialect. What's High German? I mean, that's an obvious joke, but what is High German?
It's different to Low German.
I suppose.
As in comes Mark Wood, and this is steered away into the offside. It's a sort of backward point, maybe nearer to third man. That takes KL on to 94. He's one shot away. I think it would be against the odds if he were to complete it in one shot from here. And I do believe I'm going to have the same problem. I am. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
What's up?
He's gone.
He's gone! He said
He's
absolutely
disappeared.
unbelievable, he's gone. Okay.
Signed off in style.
I'll see us through to 6:30. While we wait for Tony to see if he can come back, and we'll bring in the
no,
bear.
I'm back again. I don't know quite why it's doing it. It's very weird, but it's yeah. I think whatever they've done tells me my internet connection is unstable. Moeen Ali fields and throws, and there, see, single. So Kohli 31, KL Rahul on 94. Mark Wood has bowled 2 balls of his 14th over, none for 53 for him.
I get that a lot, saying unstable connection. Doesn't always go, it just does it occasionally, just comes up and says it. I don't know whether that's the same as you experience or whether yours freezes. Mine does freeze occasionally.
Yeah, mine freezes.
Dies.
Sometimes it comes back, sometimes it dies.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and then it's been alright for a while. Anyway, in comes Mark Wood. And KL Rahul has steered this beautifully away through extra cover. I think that's going to go all the way. Yes, it is. Is it going to be hauled in? No, it's not quite. It has made it all the way. So that will take him on to 98. He is within sight of a day one Lord's 100.
2 + 2 is our man. 2 + 2 is our man.
235 for 2. He played that very tidily indeed. Everything correct.
It's hard to think of many false shots he's played today. I mean, there was a drive through gully when I felt England should have had a gully, which could have been caught had they had one. And then there was that pull, wasn't there, that he gloved that was just out of the reach of Joss Buttler. But apart from that,
no, it's
played really well.
Been a good. Well, it's shaping up to be a good series for him, as this one is short. Mark Wood trying to put the fear up him a little bit with a short ball, but KL Rahul didn't play a shot. He just sort of rocked back out of the way, eyes on it all the way. We're looking at the shot before. His eyes
Well, he's got
totally trained on that one.
It'll be a 6th Test 100 if he gets to it, and he's got 12 50s to go alongside that. He's done, pretty well. He's averaging mid to late 30s, and
highest score was against
considering that he
England,
was, considering that. Well, no, he got 149. He got 199 in India against England.
He did. Yes, he did. As this one is forward, he comes with a big high elbow, steered away to cover, no run. Yeah, Chennai, that was in 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Average is 38, so he's had some low scores in there, but I guess that's par for the course when you're top of the order.
Yeah, he's had, it was a difficult tour for him in 2018, apart from that 149 he got at the Oval. But, considering he was the third choice coming into this series, he's really stated his case incredibly well. He's, batted extraordinarily well under quite a lot of personal pressure, I would say.
Yeah, he did. Oh, because he got 84, didn't he, at Trent Bridge? Didn't quite make it to his ton. As in comes Wood, and again he drops that in short, and again KL Rahul rocks back, and Jos Buttler takes it behind the stumps. 235 for 2, 76 overs complete, 4 to the new ball. KL on 98, Kohli on 31. He'll have a strike in the next over, and we will go back for some more messages.
The only message that we got at the moment on Twitter is from Perko. He says, "Isn't Tony's problem what Alexa pointed out, that he keeps changing the name of his wife?" Do you?
It's done once. Yes.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, how many overs have we got now? 4 overs before the new ball is due. Is there any reason why England wouldn't take the new ball tonight?
Only
stupid.
If you mentioned it earlier. Well, only if they felt, we'll wait for Moeen Ali, and he's onto the back foot goes Kohli. Punches this away to mid-wicket, no run. Only if they felt that their bowling resources were too exhausted. But I think that would be unlikely and pretty poor. As this one is slapped by Kohli away through cover, there is a man on the deep cover boundary who will come in, do the fielding, and they will take 2. Kohli will move on to 33.
Now I've seen that field as it is on the offside. I really don't understand the placement of the field, because you're cutting off a boundary potentially. Break off.
Wait as Moeen Ali comes in. Forward comes Kohli. Again, he just rolls into the offside, no run.
But if you were thinking of trying to turn the ball back in between bat and pad and getting him to drive, there's no encouragement for him to do so. He can pick up 2 and 1 with no problem, really.
Ali in again, and he's got through everything, including Jos Buttler. And Joe Root is herring off in pursuit, but I don't think he's going to stop it, and that is not going to be a good look for poor old Jos. 4 byes never looks good, I'm afraid.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball. 4 runs, I hit the ball, and it went for 4 runs.
Well, do you know what? I think I did Jos a massive disservice there, because it was an inside edge onto toe that then bounced away again. So Moeen Ali could consider himself unlucky, and Jos Buttler even more unlucky perhaps. This one is pushed to that very short mid-on. There is no run. 54 miles an hour.
Something maybe of slight concern to England as you go through the match is that the few balls that Moeen has bowled, and that was by no means short, even though he went onto the back foot, keeping low.
This one is flicked to mid-wicket again. No run. Well, it was literally his toe that saved him there. Many times that would have just been inside edge straight onto off stump.
Are you sure that was Rahul's toe? Was it Kohli? I thought...
Yeah, it was Kohli.
That was Kohli. I thought he edged that down onto the toe of Buttler. He did.
He did.
It was Butler's toe. I mean, you could argue Buttler, stay down. You could have caught that, but...
Oh yeah, indeed. You're right.
It would have been a really good catch, because there's
not
quite a big
Spider-Man.
Goodness sake, Joss, come on.
Well, do you know what? That's what's so weird, because without angle, you don't see Butler's foot at the angle we were looking at. So
it looked like it hit the stump.
Yeah, well, that was it. I thought,
yeah.
well, it can't have hit the stump, because it would have hit it hard enough to dislodge a bail. Therefore, the only thing it could have hit was Virat Kohli's toe. But it wasn't. It was Jos Buttler's toe behind the stump. Wood anyway, in he comes, right arm over, full driven by KL Rahul, but driven straight to extra cover, not this time KL. Quick from Mark Wood, not as quick as he's been today, he was up at 93, 94 I think a bit earlier.
Yeah, I saw a couple of 94 mile an hour jobs earlier, definitely.
What's success from the day from England's point of view here? India don't get to 300. They take 2 wickets.
Today, I think England need 2 more wickets to even say they've had an average day.
I wouldn't.
Totally.
You put a team in.
Totally.
I always say, well, in a 4-day game, I always say 250 is the marker. As Wood is in and onto the back foot goes KL Rahul, plays it away into the offside. If you insert a team, particularly with plenty of cloud cover at Lords, if it's Middlesex that have done it, I always go 250. You need them out for under 250. Once you get past 250, I feel the batting team's done well, and India had got 8 wickets in hand.
They got a job on.
So I don't think it would need a flurry of wickets, certainly more than 2 or more, for England to even, I'd say OK might be pushing it. Remember, they did put India in.
Yeah,
you've got to be thinking about a low total then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kohli stands ready, 2 slips go down, ready, cut wristily by KL, I beg your pardon, and that will be his ton. Beautifully played, dispatched down to the 3rd man boundary. His cap's off, his bat's in the air, his teammates and management applaud from the balcony, as do the crowd, and he has his 6th Test match 100, and well deserved it was.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Congratulations, sir. You are a centurion.
Well, yep, 2:45 for 2. We are halfway through the 78th over. That new ball is going to be due. Mark Wood, possibly, would you think he'll keep going? He's tended to be used in sort of 4 or 5 over bursts, hasn't he?
I don't see any. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him take the new ball. He didn't do it this morning. He didn't come on till after lunch. Okay, there had only been 18 overs bowled before lunch. But I'd like to see him with the hardest ball that you can get in his hand.
Well, yeah, this one's short. Pulled by KL down to long leg, Moeen Ali fields. And they take... Did they take 2 or did they take 1 on that occasion?
Just 1.
That was a lovely wristy shot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just flicked, really, from outside of off down to 3rd man. Never looked like it was going to be anything other than the 4 to bring up his 100. Mighty, both ecstatic and relieved he looks. Looks quite tired as well, to be honest. It was a weary acknowledgement, wasn't it, I think? 246 for 2.
But a really good innings,
Oh, magnificent effort from him. Mark Wood in again. Forward comes Kohli, nicely away. Dabbed really down to 3rd man.
I think this kind of indicates the difference between someone going very slow at the beginning and Rahul and Sibley in one sense, because he's gone on and he's the kind of batsman who ups his pace as the innings develops, whereas Sibley doesn't really seem to have that second gear. He will always go around. Even if he ends up getting 130, he'll have got it in 300 balls. Rahul has really stepped up since he lost Rohit and has batted extremely well.
Well, yeah, I think that is the difference. We'll come back to that in a second as Mark Wood barrels in. That one nipped back a little bit at KL, but he's able to push to mid-on. There's no run. I mean, yeah, if you get to 18 or 20 in 100 balls and you're still there and you go on and make 100 in a reasonable time, then everything's justified. But that's the difference. It's to misquote the Friends theme, Sibley's always stuck in second gear, isn't he? Sometimes not even second. But there we go.
Yeah, he's beautiful through the offside. I mean, he's beautiful through the offside even in the IPL. Rahul, he hits the ball beautifully over extra cover and sort of mid off. And I think there was a sort of control in that shot with which he went to the 100. He almost knew it. He just waited for it. It stuck in the pitch a bit for him, and as you say, he just glided it down. with a real sort of wristy confidence.
Yeah, it was very risky. It offered a bit of width to do it, but
yeah,
there was no hint of nervous 90s about the way he did it. In comes Moeen Ali, a little bit of drift and air, but nothing to trouble Virat Kohli, who steers into the offside. No run.
Have a change at the end of this over. Is Knuckle coming in to take over the final ball by ball of the day?
Okay. Moeen Ali, plenty of air, steered again, wide of cover, or down to deep extra cover.
He's getting a little bit of drift, Moeen Ali, but as I say, with the field set the way it is, I don't think it's really achieving anything. If you can get it to drift away and then turn back, that's great. There isn't much turn there, but also there's that big gap which just allows the easiest of singles. It's just not particularly good captaincy, I would say, from Root.
Moeen Ali in again. Forward comes the Centurion, KL Rahul, and pushes forward, no run. 248 for 2. Remember early on, as they were fighting in tougher conditions, it was quite slow. First 20 overs, I think they went at 1 run and over. They've upped the ante a little bit. This is again just pushed into the offside. Moeen Ali skips to field off his own bowling. Second new ball in the 1.2 overs. Jimmy Anderson has been doing some fairly light warming up, it must be said, which appeared to consist of just jogging gently from one foot to the other. I suppose at his venerable age, he doesn't want to be straining something before he's even got the ball in his hand. As this one is nicely guided down to deep extra cover, it would be a single. This partnership is now 99 from 173 balls, so we're about to see another century chalked up. Not a personal one, but an excellent partnership between these two, which is really frustrating England and putting India in a strong position forward again into the offside by Kohli. So it's the end of that over. 249 for 2. Who's doing social? You're Hendo, aren't you?
Yes, I am, but I'm off now. Knuckle, Nestlers, and Tony will continue. You're staying on. Nestlers is coming back, and Jack is saying goodbye for the night, I think.
Point of order, Hendo. They're going until 7:20. Are we doing a 50-minute?
Well, actually, no, so, you do the next half an hour, and I'll finish off the last 15 minutes or so. Do till 5 past. Yep.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Fabulous innings from KL Rahul, his 6th Test 100, his first in 15 innings, and his last before that was 44 innings ago. KL Rahul out of the Test team for 2 years and has come back to opening in Test cricket in England in superb manner. Last over before the potential taking of the new ball is bowled by Mark Wood from the pavilion end. This is played off the back foot by KL Rahul into a similar area to the shot that got him to his 100. He takes a single, moves to 105. Another 100 partnership between KL Rahul and Virat Kohli. Their what is that? Their third, I think, between these two. In fact, no, their 6th. No, sorry, their third 100 partnership between the two of them. They enjoy batting together, but KL Rahul has been quite magnificent. As Wood is into the Indian captain Virat Kohli, getting himself into the series a little bit on 39, leaves it through to the keeper. There is no run. 39 of 91, so fairly watchful, but that's the template that worked for KL Rahul. 33 of 118 before Rohit got out. 69 of 94 at 4.4 and over ever since. Tony, it's been a joy to watch.
Yeah, he's what was interesting is, as we had those conversations comparing him to the England top two, the ability to change gear, having been resolute and correct and watchful and all of those things early on, he clearly just motored his way through the gears as he progressed.
Wood into Kohli, strays onto his pads, and he clips this through square leg. Doesn't time it particularly well, but will take a single. Hasib Hamid going around to his left to do the fielding. India 251 for 2, 3 balls left before the second new ball, having been put into bat under initially gloomy skies at Lord's. Thoughts must have turned perhaps to Lord's 2018 when they were skittled by Anderson and by Wokes, but they have done very, very well. England haven't made the best use of the conditions that they had on offer, but India have batted superbly, with the exception of Cheteshwar Pujara. Remember, Rohit Sharma got 83 as Rahul on 105 is forward and just guiding this down to deep third and comes through for a single. We'd imagine Anderson will definitely take the new ball and will probably bowl from the nursery end, although he's bowled pretty well from the pavilion end in the middle phase of the innings. Do you think Robinson will come back, or will they give it to Curran to try and swing the second new ball?
They might. I mean, I think I'd like to see Robinson and Wood if Robinson's got the energy in him, and I'd like to see, as Hende says, the idea of a good hard cherry in a quicker bowler's hands, but I don't think we're going to see that.
Wood, a bouncer, which Virat Kohli ducks comfortably, leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run. Mark Wood's bowled 1, 2, 3. This will be his 4th over. It's unlikely that now he would take the new ball after having already bowled 4 overs with the old one. Doesn't tend to bowl longer than 4 over spells, given his pace and the amount of energy he exerts.
Robinson looked knackered earlier.
Yeah, some bowlers do have a knackered face. I always thought Peter Siddle always looked knackered.
Yeah.
As Mark Wood is in last ball with the old ball, we think, as Kohli defends into the offside, and there is no run. 3 runs off the over. India have made it through the first new ball at 252 for 2.
Shad King says, hello, King Kohli, please praise him. And Amar Kumar says, hello. And Edmund Carley just says, comment for comment's sake.
Oh, very meta.
Yeah. Leia, both Indian openers have a better average than Pearstow, who doesn't even effing open for England.
Yeah, KL Rahul and Dominic Sibley wouldn't be compared very often. They are stylistically and aesthetically very, very different players. KL Rahul was almost dismissed as a white ball player, certainly in the middle and latter part of his Test career before he got dropped. Came back into the team in the white ball and particularly the T20 squads. But he, up until his lull that he had in the last his first, you can sort of divide his career into 3 sets of 12. His first 12, he would either get 100 or nothing. His second 12, he was extremely consistent but couldn't get any hundreds. And then the last 12, it all kind of ebbed away. Apart from that 149, he didn't pass 50 apart from that. But he's come back to Test cricket after 2 years away. Looked a little bit tighter outside off stump and still has all of those shots. It is going to be Ollie Robinson to take the new ball initially from the nursery end. So Anderson will bowl, we think, from the pavilion end. Let's jingle up the bowler and perhaps the new cherry.
New balls, please.
And that new ball is in the hand of Oliver Edward Robinson, who's in a delivery that moves away from KL Rahul. It didn't seem to go at any great pace, but it did move. KL Rahul lunging forward at it and beaten by the one that seemed away. Fairly gentle, 76 miles an hour, but it did move through to the keeper. There is no run.
Well, to be honest, if you want to exploit some movement in the air, it's not necessarily all about speed. And 1, it might have been a loosener, but 2, if you can get movement at that speed, keep bowling at that speed.
Yeah. As in comes Robinson's second ball. This is down the leg side, though, and it's an easy clip off the hips for KL Rahul. They might come back for 2. Yes, they will. Kohli and Rahul quick between the wickets. Moheen Ali doing the fielding out there. That rather releases the pressure of the first delivery.
I mean, this is what he was doing earlier today, consistently, Ollie Robinson. He was obviously looking for that one that starts on leg and just nips and swings back. But too often he was spearing it down the leg side, time and again.
He's not been able to. He's been looking a little bit at times for magic balls, Robinson. He's also been hanging it outside off stump, trying to get it to come in, and those haven't gone either. I think he's been at his best when he's just concentrated on banging it in about top of off or just above top of off with his height. That's a full delivery. That's a glorious shot by KL Rahul. It was very full but pitched up and beautifully put away by KL Rahul. A check drive through the covers, and it whistled away to the fence for 4. The exemplar of putting away the long half volley.
Yeah, it was a beautiful shot. Absolutely gorgeous shot.
Textbook.
A very fluent player, KL Rahul, through the covers, and his last 300 plus scores have been 149, 199 and 156. Going back a while, admittedly. This is a full outside off stump, and again Rahul tries to drive. This time can't beat extra cover, and there is no run. Admittedly, that is going back to a going back over about nearly 5 years, but still.
108 now, this partnership. It's been a magnificent effort, yes, by KL Rahul, but the two of them together, England's hopes will have been raised with that second wicket, but it was a false dawn.
Apparently so, as Robinson is in again on the pads, clipped away by Rahul straight to Moeen. There is no run, so we've had one beautiful delivery, then one on leg, 2 half volley-ish outside off stump, and then another one on leg. Not as easy as Broad. It's not as easy as Broad and Anderson make it look.
No. Stuart Broad, I saw the picture of him with his feet up on the sofa and his big pot thing on his leg. Was it his Achilles that
calf
was the problem? Oh, his calf
tear. The whole right leg was swollen, quite nasty. As Robinson is in, that's a good delivery, back of a length and angling away. Rahul plays it well though, gets it down and beats the dive of the man at gully, but backward point does the mopping up, and there is no run. A less than threatening over to start with the second new ball, 6 runs off it. India 258 for 2.
Just the Jersey Jingler on Twitter says, someone tell Knackle to get closer to his mic or turn up the gain.
Well, I'm pretty close to my mic and I've just turned the gain up, so hopefully that's fine.
No, yeah, I think you said okay.
Quite an intimate relationship they have. He's very close to it.
He's not isolating from his mic.
It is going to be James Anderson to start with the second new ball from the pavilion end, where he took the 2 wickets in quick succession of Rohit Sharma bowled. Delicious bit of setup there. Away, a little bit of wobble in and bowled off the pad for 83, and then Jiteshwar Pujara, pretty much the opposite, had him worried about the inside edge, then dragged him across his crease and had him poking to Bairstow at second slip for 9. At that point, India were 150 for 2, but KL Rahul and Virat Kohli rather were put on 108 at just a shade under 3.5 and over. Let's get a jingle for the most prolific seamer in Test history. Or not, as Anderson is in.
We've had our eye on you for some time now, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Starts with a full delivery outside off stump, which Kohli defends into the offside, and there is no run. The only wicket taker today for England. 3 slips. So far, yes. 3 slips and a fine-ish gully backward point. Extra cover, no orthodox mid-off. Presumably we've got a mid-on, mid-wicket and long leg as Anderson is in. Kohli takes a couple of steps down the track and flicks this round the corner to long leg. Robinson does the fielding, and Kohli moves to 41. He's picked up the pace a little bit in the last few overs as Virat Kohli.
Well, I mean, when that toss was held and India were put in by Joe Root, if you'd have said to Virat by about 20 to 7 you're going to be 259 for 2, he'd have been turning cartwheels all the way back to the pavilion, I would imagine.
100%, although it did have the slight impression of a good toss to lose.
Yeah.
Virat Kohli said he would have bowled first, but there was a chance to put runs on the board, and India have done a good chunk of the job of that, as Rahul pushes into the offside, a little bit handsily, doesn't time it that well, beats extra cover, but doesn't beat. There was a mid-off in place. I was wondering where that extra fielder was, and it is Sam Curran at mid-off. There is no run.
He's looking very secure, is Virat, as of course is a KL, but so as a man would on 112.
This looks
He's
very easy for India at the moment.
Very ominous for England, I fear.
It always looked like he had time to play. This is short and pulled by KL Rahul aerially into the gap, though. I think not quite in the gap. Actually, he didn't time it that well, and Robinson will come round from long leg to field, and they'll come through for 2 runs.
Looked a magnificent shot, didn't it? And then I was looking sort of several rows back in the mound stand, and in actual fact, it was dropped well short, and Robinson had time aplenty just to stroll over and do the fielding.
Bit off the edge of the bat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's slightly spooned it a little bit. As Anderson is in now to Kohli. In fact, they only took 1. Kohli jabs at this outside off stump, and it's fielded at backward point, and there is no run. Remarkably, the last 4 centuries outside Asia by an Indian opener are all by KL Rahul.
Wow.
It goes back quite a long way.
Got one in Australia, didn't he? Though, am I right? He got a ton in Australia.
He did in his very first series, back in 2014.
Oh no, I was thinking about the last tour. He didn't get one then. Okay.
No, he didn't. Didn't play on that tour. He didn't play and then got injured. As Kohli initially shapes to push this into the onside, walking across his stumps, but then just brings the bat through and blocks back to the bowler. There is no run, and India take 2 runs off Anderson's first over with the second new ball. They are 260 for 2 after 82 overs.
Mohan Sharma says Sibley and Rahul can't be compared. Yes, Pujara bats like him. Yes, in this series Pujara tries to play fast but has failed to score much. Both Indian openers have centuries in all 3 international formats.
As I say, I wouldn't think many people would compare
Sibley.
Compare those two, Sibley and Rahul. They're very different types of player. As Robinson is in left alone by KL Rahul outside off stump, and there is no run. For what it's worth, I think Sibley has done a good chunk of the job of an opener when the ball has been moving around. As I said earlier, if the middle order had scored some runs and taken advantage of the fact that Sibley had eaten up a lot of deliveries and potentially tired the bowlers out, then I don't think anyone would be, calling for the head of Dominic Sibley.
Bring me the head of Dominic Sibley.
Well, indeed, yeah. Might have been different if Ollie Pope had been fit for this game, but he was released from the England squad before the start of this match. This one from Robinson never quite arrives at KL Rahul, and he ends up just defending it to mid-on, and there is no run.
It'll be interesting in the GPL by the end of play today.
Yeah, we're on 260 for 2. There are 261, 264 and 267 are presumably out. Oh, we've got 8 overs left, or 7 overs left after this. But there's a few in play. I think Jack Hope, Ombre Nuevo, Nestle Boy all be interested. As Robinson is in, Rahul plays inside the line of this, lets it go through to Butler, and there is no run.
Yeah, I need to. I want them to stop scoring completely, apart from a few singles, or I want them to hit out a bit.
Yeah, the next entries are 261 by Mogg, 264 by Jack Hope, 267 by Ombre Nuevo, 273 by Nestle Boy, 281 by JB, 287 by Ombre Nuevo, and I don't think we're going to get much beyond that.
Yeah, the 280s interest me.
As Robinson is in, 4th ball of the over is down the leg side. Rahul has a little flick at it. He's missed a couple of those. We've been talking all day about the fact his head kind of falls outside the line of off stump. He misses this one. Butler takes down leg, and there is no run.
It wasn't a great day out for Ollie Pope, I can tell you that. Although Surrey won comfortably enough at Derbyshire, he was caught and bowled by McKiernan for 15 off 22 balls.
Coming back from a quad strain that's taken a long time to recover, he's not deemed fit enough to play multi-day cricket, so he's recovering his fitness for Surrey in the one-day cup. It's a full delivery, good searching delivery from Robinson, and Rahul defends off the inside part of the bat to mid-on, and there is no run. A little hint of shape from Robinson, but nothing extravagant. He'll sleep well tonight, I think, Ollie Robinson. 20 overs. He's sort of become the second bowler in this England team overnight. With, Archer injured, Stokes unavailable, Stuart Broad out of the series, and is doing yeoman work. This is outside off stump, left alone by KL Rahul through to the keeper. There is no run. A maiden, not an especially threatening one. India 260 for 2 with a minimum of 7 overs remaining today.
Pavan and Kush PSPK says, King Kohli, sir, back in form. Well, you try saying that surname. No, actually,
I wasn't going to. No.
King Kohli, sir, back in form. 71 century complete, sir. These Test match. Stanezi Alan Rat Anzai says it is the right time for Pujara to retire and give respect to Indian cricket.
Wow.
Calm Ahmed says King Kohli loved from Pakistan.
That's nice. This is outside off stump, and Anderson pushes a single into the offside, or what was basically half a single. He came about halfway down the track, having pushed it to Hamid at backward point. Hamid then apparently forgot to pick up the ball, and they eventually decided to run through for the second half of the single. They were having the discussion when Kohli was about 10 yards down the track. It was very strange. In the end, it's a yes, no. Oh, all right then.
Still a pretty shabby piece of fielding, though.
Yeah, Hamid didn't.
Got away with it somewhat.
Been a couple of dodgy misfields. Sibley misfielded one in the covers earlier. There's been no dropped catches, as this is a beautiful push through the back foot, through the offside off the back foot by KL Rahul. Nothing wrong with the delivery at all, just a back of a length delivery, and he gets in line with it beautifully and punches it away to the right hand of Hasib Hamid for 4. Lovely shot from KL Rahul.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Timed that so well. Placed it beautifully as well. I think Hamid was expecting that to go behind square, but Rahul just managed to get the bat in the way and close the back face, or open the back face, and get it into the gap. He runs this one down to the man at deep point now, and comes through for a single. Remember, we can go till 6:50 is the official close of play, which we are now, and we can go through until 7:20. We're in the extra half hour. We should get all the overs in today, despite the fact we lost some time for rain earlier. Kohli on 42 off 99 deliveries. Made that 42 off 100 deliveries as he fends this one a little bit awkwardly outside off stump. Rory Burns does the dive, aided by perhaps the aerodynamicity of his ponytail, and there is no run.
Is it an aerodynamic ponytail?
It depends, I suppose, if you're going. Depends which way you're going. I think if you're going into the wind, it could be a parachute.
Could be.
Like Hasib Hamid's long, lustrous locks.
Well, he's a bit Colin de Grandhomme-like. You'd expect to see him in a shampoo ad. Running sort of along a beach.
David Ginola, circa 1998. This is a full delivery, and Virat Kohli walks across to off stump and defends back to his old nemesis, James Anderson. There is no run.
Well, it's Kohli is winning that battle today. There's still time for Jimmy to turn it around.
That delivery that Anderson got Kohli with in the first Test match was the first time that Anderson has got Virat Kohli since that horrendous tour for Kohli of 2014. So it does tend to dominate the headlines when these two great cricketers go up against each other. Anderson is in, that's edged, and I think that's fallen short of third slip. It was jabbed at by Kohli. Bairstow was diving in front of second slip, and I'm not sure if that carried on or not. My initial reaction is no, judging by just the trajectory of the ball, but I would like to see that. Anderson walked away dejectedly. That tells you nothing. Let's have a look and see. It was a fend from Kohli, well short of Bairstow in the end, and he actually did quite well to get a hand on it. So again, just a slowish pitch, Kohli playing with softish hands, and just nothing has carried to slip today at all.
Well, Matt Searle says there hasn't been any drop catches because nothing has gone near Juggly Joe in the slips.
Juggly Joe.
Did see in the first Test match that England are the worst of the major Test nations in the slips since the start of 2019, dropping 4 in 10. So 75% catching rate. The global average is in the sort of high, in the sort of mid 80s. New Zealand are up there at 90.
Part of it's consistency, i.e. in consistent personnel.
Yeah, Rory Burns has a very good record in the slips. He's catching at 90%. He wasn't in the slips for most of the first test, although I did notice he was brought in the second innings, and Sibley, who dropped a catch, was banished out to the outer. This is left alone by Rahul. Tightish to off stump, kept a little low.
Sibley's was definitely catchable, but he had to throw in a dive to his left, as I recall.
Was
but
in the
it's
first
the sort of
test.
dive you expect. It's like a penalty when the keeper dives, but you expect him to save it.
Oh no, I'm talking.
This was a dive you expect him to have caught.
I'm talking in the first test. That was a fairly simple catch. There was only one at catchable height today, which was the one that flashed past Rory Burns, which he couldn't have got, which he couldn't get to from where he was standing.
Of
KL Rahul earlier.
Drop.
That's a good delivery from Robinson. Jags past the outside edge. Rahul does well not to follow it, and then makes the symbol for that jagged away a bit to his captain, and there is no run. See how it's gone late off the seam. Robinson bowling from the nursery end, getting it to jag down the hill.
But that's the perfect line and length to do that, particularly at Lord's.
It's the Tim Murter end.
Works, yeah.
The tall figure of Ollie Robinson comes into the tallish figure of KL Rahul, who defends this awkwardly off his crease, but Kohli does well and spots that there's a single as the ball dribbles off the cut strip into the leg side, and Rahul moves with that single to 119.
There's also the Glenn McGrath line.
From the pavilion end, just nipping the ball up the hill.
Yeah. Just a shade short of a length.
Yeah.
Just moving away. Perfect delivery. But sadly, there haven't been enough of them.
Think back to the 2005 Ashes, where he ripped the England top order apart. Three slips go down quite close to each other as Robinson is in, edged, and that is caught at first slip. We were talking about nothing carrying to slip and England not catching anything at slip, but Virat Kohli has edged to his opposite number, Joe Root, at first slip. It was a regulation slip catch really, but Root did take it going away to his right. Robinson has plugged away all day, and he's got the Indian captain fishing outside off stump. Kohli goes for 42. England have the breakthrough with the second new ball. India 267 for 3.
Well taken by Joe Root.
On your bike, mate.
Not his... Kohli batted nicely enough today, but not quite at his authoritative best. He had been pushing a few outside off stumps. A decent delivery, just angling in, and then just a little bit of seam movement, pushing with slightly harder hands than he'd have wanted to, Virat Kohli, and the edge is swallowed by Root going away to his right. Virat Kohli gone for 42 off 103 balls.
Now, do we see a night watchman, do we think?
I doubt it. Not within. None of India's tail can really be relied upon to do that.
Juggly Joe in the slips, eh, Matt? Hey? Stuck to him like glue. Oh, yeah, and he's just tweeted. So that aged well.
Yeah, the reverse commentator's curse, or tweeter's curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm genuinely not sure. I mean, Ishant Sharma, I suppose, is the most likely to come in as a night watchman, but I can't see that happening. Imagine Ajinkya Rahane, who really looked like he was batting with electrified trousers at Trent Bridge. Or so here, there, and everywhere, and overly busy. It is indeed India's Test vice captain.
Ajinkya Rahane, you fat, and everybody comes running. Take a run, get down the other end. Ajinkya Rahane, quick 50.
Great triumph for Ajinkya Rahane in 2014. Got a fabulous 100 here on a very green pitch to help India win that Test match before Ishant Sharma bounced out the Indian England middle order, but he's been short of runs since that fantastic 100 in Melbourne, and did not look at all convincing at Trent Bridge as Robinson is into Rahane, who shuffles into line with this and defends into the offside. There is no run. See the slip catch again. It's a decent delivery. Kohli will be annoyed with himself, I think, though, that he was pushing at that, and Root took it neatly away, sort of just in line with his right knee.
Aisha Elias just says, Fuck. Obviously, a Kohli fan, I think.
There are a few of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, there are.
Well, it's quite good for an up-and-coming young batsman.
As Rahane doesn't really do anything with his feet and just, again, shuffles into line with this to defend. Back to the bowler, there is no run. A successful over for Ollie Robinson, dismissing the Indian captain. India 267 for 3 having been put into bat. There are 5 overs remaining of this first day of the second test. Remember, after day 5 was washed out, the series is level 0-0.
Leia, who's changed her handle on Twitter to Leia, not a good number 8. Sorry, Gary. Also says fuck, but I reckon that the opener's made enough.
I think this is. Well, no, I don't think this is most definitely India's day, having been put into bat.
Yes, yes.
Even if they don't add too many more runs, I think even if they were 270 for 5, I think they'd probably win it on points. As Anderson will continue, just the 2 slips in the gully, a backward point deep on the boundary. Extra cover mid-off, mid-on, 2 men back on the hook. So quite a defensive field to KL Rahul. Anderson wants to be bowling at Ajinkya Rahane. This is down the leg side, and Rahul flicks it into the onside. Take the single, because of course he would. 268 for 3.
I mean, another wicket before close of play for England would still be India's day.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I would definitely say so. In the context of having been put in, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, less emphatically so. Anything whenever you're 250 plus for 2, it always looks pretty emphatic. 268 for 3 a year. Again, you would. I think we're beyond the point of add 2 wickets to the score. Still got. I mean, India. There's not a huge amount of batting. Like, you've got Pant and Jadeja, but then you really are into a tail as Rahane leaves this outside off stump through to the keeper, and there is no run. You've got Jasprit Bumrah potentially coming in at number 8.
That's not a good number 8, Gary.
No, it isn't. Despite his slap-happy heroics at Trent Bridge with the bat, India decided to go with 4 seamers and hang the lower order. 4 slips in for Ajinkya Rahane. Backward point, extra cover, mid-on, mid-wicket and long leg as Anderson is in. This is on the off stump and just clipped away neatly by Rahane down to long leg. He'll get himself off the mark. He wants the second. Still energetic and effervescent running from Rahane, who ran the second by himself, but in 2 parts. Rahul definitely didn't want it, and there is only 1. He got 5 runs, 4 of which were from overthrows that he nearly ran himself out on, and then he did run himself out eventually at Trent Bridge. More for busy, but just dial it down a notch or 12. KL Rahul facing up to the 4th ball of the over. He shuffles into line and drives this beautifully through the covers, the deep points in position, but he's just a spectator. That wasn't a half volley. KL Rahul put it away magnificently through cover for 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Almost on the up, he's walking at Anderson there, so confident is he, and that's the 5th or 6th beautiful cover drive that he's played in this innings.
That's my first GPL score gone. Unless they get absolutely nothing now to the close of play.
And Anderson comes in, tighter line to off stump. He blocks very solidly to extra cover, and there is no run. 273 for 3. Yes, we're now into JB on Bryn Webo. You've got 1 more, 296.
Yeah, they're not going to do that, are they? Are they?
Could we have another monster rollover?
Oh, Hendo's due back on, isn't he?
Yes, he is after this over. 1 ball left of it from Anderson to KL Rahul. This is defended from the crease into the onside, and there is no run. 5 runs, 6 runs off the over, including that sumptuous cover drive by KL Rahul. India 273 for 3 having been put into bat. 4 overs remain in the day.
Thanks, Tackle. India, well, closing in on 300. I don't suppose they'll get there tonight, but the way KL Rahul has been batting, it can't be absolutely certain about that. What a relief for England to at least get through Virat Kohli. A little bit of atmosphere seems to have broken out at Lord's. I guess there was a certain amount of lack of noise from the crowd because India were performing so well. But to get the Indian captain out at any time is always a little bit of a boost to a team. Rahane is going to face Robinson. He's into his 22nd over. He's got a little bit more life in him now that he's got that wicket. This one comes off the outside edge, played down into the ground though by Rahane. Good leaping stop by Burns to his left in the slips. And England would, well, one more wicket tonight. It's not going to make that much difference, actually, but it's going to make them feel a bit better.
Well, there isn't, actually, this is it. If Bumrah's at number 8,
that's true. That's true.
Another wicket now does count, really.
Yeah, and you go into tomorrow. If one of those was Rahul, you go into tomorrow with 2 batsmen who haven't got started. This one flies back into the pad, really jags from Robinson. He does get that ball to jag in at times. If he could just get that line a little bit better, that would have fired down the leg side. But at times he hasn't got his line right today.
No, but I do think for that one that jags back in, he really wants either a short leg or a deep short leg, because twice today the ball's come off the inside edge and catapulted out into the leg side.
Has Tony gone?
He has.
Right.
Okay.
He just disappeared. I said I'm happy coming on, and he just went. Didn't say.
And I said, do you want to do tweets? And
this is outside the stump, left alone by Rahane. He's got a single to his name from 7 deliveries. And I mean, if England, ideally, with still having a pretty new ball, if they could get at Rishabh Pant and Rahane early tomorrow, you're absolutely right. There isn't a lot to come beyond Jadeja.
No.
Mind you, these are in their own right of dangerous players.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's why you want to get one of them out now. Yeah, I think that's why I think it does matter. And get another good chance early in the morning. If you don't get another one tonight, they're coming back. They've got to get themselves in again tomorrow. When you get another one early tomorrow, you get one more through to the tail.
And he comes again, hits him on the pad, big appeal. That's going down the leg side. Going down the leg side. Richard Lingworth says no. No, you're not going to review that. Please don't tell me you're going to review that.
I thought that looked quite close.
No, I think it's still missing. Still missing. I mean, he's had several like that in the last test. And he's going to review it, isn't he? I just know he is. He is. He's going to review it, and that is a disaster.
I thought he walked right across the stump so I could see his legs.
He did, but it was firing down the leg side. It was that big jag back again. Now it's Fuller. I'll be very surprised if this is hitting. I really will be. I felt like Robinson had a few of these in the first test. They weren't quite good enough, but you bowl a good ball, and England seem to think because you bowled a good ball, it should be a wicket. This is what they seem to be reviewing on. That's why they had the review that they lost earlier against Pujara when Anderson was bowling. They thought it was such a good ball, it almost seemed to blind them to the fact that it was high, and they went for the review. This is surely missing. It's missing.
Well, quite a way as well.
You're right.
See, when I first saw that, my initial thought is he's walked right across the stumps. It's pinged him in front of the middle. But actually, on review, it's pinged him just about in line with leg stump, but it's going miles down leg side. That was my initial reaction. That's why I thought that was a pretty good review, but no.
Well, it didn't look it to me. And the one they did earlier didn't look good to me. I've only got one left. India have still got 3. Robinson in again, bowls back of a length, defended on the front foot though, into the covers. I suppose when you've had a long and tiring day and you feel like you should have done better with your resources, there's the temptation at the tail end to want a wicket for anything almost.
Yeah.
And but I think Root's reviewing, I think, of what I've seen of it in recent matches, has been close to appalling. It really has.
Not been good.
It really
Kohli was pretty shit in one innings last test as well, though.
Yeah, which just goes to show you, doesn't it, that the cricketers themselves don't always know best. In comes Robinson again, brings this one back. Now that would have been better had he not got the bat down on it at the last minute. Thick inside edge out towards mid-wicket. No run. 273 for 3. Anyone still with us?
Yeah, Leia's still with us. It says, bring me the head of Jack Dorsey, the effing Nazi bootlegger.
Well, There's a fair few people on YouTube.
Okay, read a few out.
Yeah, no.
No? Don't read a few out? Are they bad?
Bhai Mandeep Singh Larry says nice batting going on.
Where's that?
How's batting going
That's
on?
the last one I can see. Makesh Kumar says, can you speak Hindi, please? No.
No.
Well, I'd like to have that talent.
Well, I'd love to have that
but I
talent,
don't.
but unfortunately we don't. If we tried it, you'd just want to probably kill us.
Yeah, you probably would. Well, I mean, we wouldn't even know where to start, to be
exactly.
honest. Sam Curran is going to get an over or two before the close. He's going to come in from the pavilion end. It's been a difficult day for him. 16 overs, none for 56. Has been swing for him, but maybe not enough. Maybe his line hasn't been good enough. He's bowling to Rahul on 124, who's just about still in sunshine, that part of the pitch, but not by much. This one is defended on the front foot and picked up by Sibley. There is no run.
I think they're playing too long.
And Nestle was 11 minutes from winning 200.
I think they're playing for too long. They should stop this game now.
Have we still got anyone in the frame? 273, Nestle Boy. Oh, well, hang on. You're still in it, Nestle Boy.
Yeah, exactly. He's in
no
there
more
until
runs today, and you're away with 204 quid. Curran in again, bowls to Rahul. Rahul rides that one, just lifting his bat out of the way. And through it goes. So who else have we got?
There's
JB.
11 minutes.
Who's JB?
JB's on 281. I don't know who JB is, but he's in with a shout, winning £204.
Yeah, 281's in the box seat, I think.
Hombre Nueve 287. I think there's a possibility that would need 14 more runs tonight. I think JB is definitely in the frame. Curran is in again. Bowls. He goes after this one. He plays a lovely shot. Backward square. There is Hasib Hamid out at deep backward point. As poor old Nestle Boy gets very excited in the background. He's out of the equation. Unless
they go mental.
They go mental and score 22 more runs. He's got 296 as well.
Come on, India.
But thank you to everyone who's taken part in the GPL. So yeah, it is fun, isn't it? At the end of the day, to have so many.
Adds a little bit of
frame,
spice, you know.
It gives a little spice to it, doesn't it? So don't forget to do the same tomorrow. Curran in now to Rahani. Rahani plays in front of his pad. A little bit of swing, not enough, not quick enough to beat him. Picked up at mid wicket, and there is no run.
What was the next score after?
Well, next up is JB with 281, followed by Hombre Nueva on 287, then you on 296.
281. 281.
JB, if you're on Twitter, get in touch and tell us how nervous you are. Curran in bowls. Rahani defends right back on his stumps, and it's fielded at mid-off.
JB is actually Anthony Bush, who gets in touch via YouTube often.
Oh, right, okay. So, how's he feeling? How are you feeling? Is this your first entry? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing if you won 204 quid on your first attempt at the GPL? I mean, hopefully you'll come back 204 times and gradually pay it back. That would be my wish, but we shall see. Curran to complete his 17th over. He's coming around the wicket, 3 slips, in fact 4 slips, hoping for an edge, but Rahani gets forward. This defends it into the covers. That is the end of the 88th over, and it does look as if, going till 20 past 7, we are actually going to get the full 90 overs in. That's a rarity.
Hombre Nuevo says, come on, 287 stumps. Wonder why he wants that. Mayank says, need a Hindi commentator for those YouTube viewers? I'm your man. Will it be good? Nah, but I'll get the job done. Farong says, if your keeper has the best view of the line and height of the ball, then England probably wouldn't have wasted the amount of reviews that they had. Ben Tanner, watching it live in real time with less than 100% attention on the screen, it looks like a pretty good shout. Unfortunately, international cricketers should probably be better at reviewing than me.
Well, actually, I don't know. There are some pretty bad reviewers in Test cricket. We've seen.
It depends how you see it first up, doesn't it? I mean, that's what I mean.
So.
You saw it like that, and I saw it
Robinson
differently.
Bowling to Rahul. Rahul leaves the ball. Just a little bit of nibble outside the off stump, but he's showing that exemplary judgment that he's shown really from the outset of the day.
He could have hit that for a 6, couldn't he?
It's a bit boring, isn't it? Really.
Well, for me, yeah. Andy Bush says, I'm just hoping the Bear has created enough of a karma deficit to allow me to win.
lights in the house always wins, you know. I know we're going to have to pay out eventually, but I quite like to get something like 500 quid or something like
Yeah,
that.
imagine that. Bloody hell.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that would. Well, it goes up. The more of you take part, the quicker it goes up.
Absolutely.
And if you get the rollovers as well. Robinson in, shorter, into the hip. Tucked away neatly enough by Rahul, who just jogged through for the single. Moeen Ali comes out of the shadow of the grandstand to do the fielding. And India move on to 275 for 3. Just 6 away from JB winning the Gorilla Prediction League.
That said, I'd rather win the Euro Millions on Friday with a 93 million jackpot.
Oh, that's good, because I forgot to take... I keep forgetting on a Tuesday to take part.
Yeah, I prefer... I mean, give me the choice. I would take the 93 million, yeah. Fair point. I think it's a reasonable point. Robinson. 22.2 overs work he's got through today. Back of a length. Was brushed into the offside by Rahani, fielded by Hasib Hamid.
We killed a layer joke about Hawkwind album.
We killed a joke.
That was me. I didn't. Yeah, she attached a picture to it. I didn't. We one of you jumped in. Doesn't matter. Matt Sell says, "Is Ollie Robinson the new Stuart Broad? Burns through reviews with no prospect of success."
I am a little bit worried that he might be becoming that. Yeah. He had one last week that was too high. Another one that went down the leg side. He's had one today. Robinson in again, finds the outside edge, but Bairstow, diving to his right at third slip, managed to haul it in. So they don't waste another 4 runs down to third man, which is untenanted.
Here's a controversial thing. Do you think Bairstow's going to play himself back into the test team? Full stop.
Well, I hope so. I mean, you know, I don't believe that anyone wouldn't want to watch an informed Johnny Bairstow batting in Test cricket. I mean, he's an exciting player to watch, and you know, he's got a decent enough Test record. He should have done better, perhaps, but you know, he's still averaging in the mid-30s, and this is a man who's also moved around the order like Moeen Ali. Robinson in, bowls, and forward comes Rahani, but doesn't get the edge that England were hoping for. Goes through to Butler. 275 for 3.
Of course, if there's a wicket in the next over, that will be stumped, won't it?
It will. That was actually a really good ball. It's gone down the slope and probably was going to move a little bit anyway. Just accentuated it. Robinson looks at that patch and thinks, that's where I want to land it more often than not, if I can. One ball in this over and then one more over, likely to be bowled by Sam Curran.
Anthony needs things to happen.
He does. In he comes, hits him on the pad too high. Do not review that. Illingworth says, don't be ridiculous, and wanders away to square leg. India with 1 over remaining in the day after being put into bat of 275 for 3.
Mayank says, didn't Message win pot on his first try? Or at least share it with another winner or something?
I don't know, because
he gave one back, didn't he?
Oh, he's given money back. I'm pretty sure he didn't do it on his first go. He did win the highest that we've had so far, which was about 193.
Jersey O just says we're doomed. Hombre Nuevo says, I need the GPL win to recover beer tokens while using Mini Hombre Mini in her onesie as the GC advertising board in a Norbiton pub this afternoon.
Good lad.
Farong says, if we had PayPal in Bangladesh and I had a job, I would definitely participate in the GPL and chip in each month via subscription. My luck will change eventually.
Good.
Do hope so, because then it sounds like ours will a little bit. First ball of the final over today, bowled by Sammy Curran from round the wicket, left arm round, to Rahul, who tucks it away into the onside and will take a single. That probably is his work done for the day. He'll be hoping that Ajinkya Rahane can stay at the other end for 5 balls, keep Curran out.
I'll get this one in before we finish. Div Rob says, do you think India made a mistake by not picking Ashwin considering how flat the wicket is?
No.
Well, they're 276 for 3. I mean,
big scoreboard runs is what they're looking for. Onto the back foot goes Rahane, wants a single, but Hamid moves round at mid wicket to prevent it. 276 for 3. Still need 5 runs if there's going to be a winner in the Gorilla Prediction League this evening. JB, Anthony Bush, on YouTube is that man. And he's hoping for a 4 and a single in the next 4 balls.
Mog says, Jay says Mog won first go.
Oh, did he? Okay. I didn't think Mog was a regular.
He wasn't. He came in. He won quite a big part, if I remember rightly, as well. His first go.
This is just nicely stroked to extra cover by Rahane.
Anthony Bush. It's not happening.
You have 3 balls. Rahane and Rahul between them need to score 5 runs for you to be taking £204 back for your £1 stake. That is how generous we are here on
at the moment, I'm closest. Can I have it?
No. Doesn't work that way.
No.
Oh, you bastards.
I know. Maybe we should make it work that way and more people take part. I'm not sure. Outside your stump, left alone by Rahane. He's not looking like the man who's going to smash a 4 and then take a single. But if he was just to get a sort of thin edge to a ball that's going down the leg side and it runs down to fine leg, and then he just dinks a single from the final ball, then JB is in business. I'm just trying to, be positive about this from his point of view.
It's not over till it's over.
Indeed, it is not. We have no fat ladies to sing, but there are plenty of fat men here who might sing. Onto the back foot goes Rahane, just drops it into the onside. Now, I'd have to say that it is pretty unlikely that the final ball of the day is going to go for 5.
Well, if it goes through Butler and hits a helmet on the floor behind him.
So he's got to. Oh no, it doesn't really matter who edges it. It doesn't matter if he gets bat on it. It's just the actual score.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if Butler misses this, and it hits the helmet behind the wicketkeeper, then JB, you have won £204. Otherwise, it's looking a bit tricky.
I was closest. I should get it.
3 slips and a leg slip. Well, he's trying to cut off that 4 down the leg side. He's in, bowls outside the off stump, but he's gone after that, would you believe? A full shot from Rahane. Bit of excitement from behind the stumps, but it's not been edged. And that, I believe, is the end of the day. The end of the day. What was that strange blow?
That was me coughing.
Sorry. Cold again. That is stumps on day 1. It's taken us a long time to get to the stumps. It's now 21 minutes past 7, but it's surely been India's day, despite being put into bat under cloudy skies with the lights on, with rain coming and then going and then coming again. Wow. And it's been initially, it was on the back of a really good 83 from Rohit Sharma, and England were wondering where a wicket was going to come from, and of course it came from Jimmy Anderson, who was ignored for an hour and a half in the afternoon session, which I didn't really understand when Sam Curran wasn't bowling particularly well but seemed to have an extended spell. He made a really nice 83, brilliant ball from Anderson, then got rid of Pujara. And England, just after tea, thought perhaps they were going to get back into this game, but Rahul and Virat Kohli to some extent kept them at bay until the last half hour, when Ollie Robinson finally got rid of Virat Kohli. Scratchy little innings from him, really, for 42. But Rahul has ventured on and finished on 127 not out from 248 balls. Went to his 100 in 212 balls with 9 4s and a 6. In fact, hit a 6 before he hit a 4 in this innings, would you believe, when he went from 22 to 28. But that is strange indeed. Anderson, 2 for 52 from 20. Robinson got through plenty of work, bowled decently, 1 for 47. Curran, none for 58 from 18. Wood, disappointing really, 16 overs, no maidens. 1 maiden, none for 66, but then he's played hardly any cricket, and rhythm is important to a fast bowler. And Moeen Ali, who bowled well enough, but there's really nothing much in the pitch for him at the moment. So the day ends with no GPL winner, but the winner of the day is undoubtedly KL Rahul. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Yeah, well, Leah says I volunteer to sing, admitting that 78 kilograms to 190 does not really make me a fat lady. Farong was wondering about 5 wides, but that's gone now. Thanks, crew, for an always entertaining call. Take care. Cheers, says Farong. And I think I'll end with the greatly named Pokey Bumfinger, who says, thanks, lads. Hopefully see you tomorrow.
Call me immature, but that handle doesn't make me laugh. And I should say, now this has got to be a first, hasn't it? That this day has gone on so long that we are only just going to the 100 match, which is happening tonight.
And Guillermo Vilas is playing for the The team in green.
Yeah, it could be Guillermo or it could be Dane, who is South African. Wrong Vilas. Anyway, that seems to be a game between the Superchargers and someone else. If you haven't had enough cricket for the day and you want to watch some bang, crash, wallop, this is the place to be. But it is interesting that on both Sky channels that the 100 might have been on, unless it was just on Sky Sports 1, or Sky 1, they didn't seem to be showing the 100 while the Test match was on. It's a triumph for Test cricket. And quite right, because it was an enthralling day in many ways. Anyway, that's about it for today. We will be back at 10. It hardly seems worth going to bed, because we will be back in less than 15 hours' time to bring you day 2, when England will hope to perform a little bit better. It's not really been their day, despite having favourable conditions. And they'll be a little bit disappointed. And only that wicket of Kohli at the end will have given them a little bit of jump in their step right at the end of the day. If you have been listening and watching us, you should also know that we have plenty of in-play articles and videos going up during the day for your interest. Please have a look at those, because the more clicks we get on the website, the more chance we have of making some money and staying with you forever and ever. Amen. So please go and have a look at the website and look at your favourite videos. I'll be doing a report that will be up hopefully in about 40 minutes. But until tomorrow, unless there are any final tweets,
no, we're done.
We'll say goodnight from the Bear.
Good night. And the pot starts at £204 tomorrow. It's a record. It's a record.
Come on, Anthony, you don't want to have another go tomorrow, don't you? So JB, get in there. Hombre Nuevo, get in there. And all the rest of you who have never played the GPL, get in there tomorrow morning. First thing. It's goodbye from the Bear. It's goodbye from Nestle Boy.
Goodbye.
3 bloody runs. Bloody hell.
It's goodbye from me, Gorilla Hendo. And we'll speak to you in the morning.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket.